Driving me crazy just looking at it. Combing your hair with your hand gives me feelings I don't understand. Combing your hair with your hand gives me feelings I don't understand. You do this thing when you're biting your lip. It's driving me crazy just looking at it. You know me better than I know myself. I don't wanna live in a world without you. You do this thing when you're biting your lip. It's driving me crazy just looking at it. You know me better than I know myself. I don't wanna live in a world without you. World without you. Driving me crazy just looking at it. World without you. Driving me crazy just looking at it. You do this thing when you're biting your lip.
Oh, hello, people. Good evening, everyone. How we doing? Hope everyone's having a good day. I hope everyone's in a good mood. I mean, can't really complain with past couple of days. I mean, I do find it amusing how from one moment we go into complete meltdown and then in a matter of a day, everything's cushy and sweet again. But that is what, as Spurs fans, I suppose we enjoy doing. 1 minute is great, next minute it's like the world is going to end. And
flip-flop FC.
It just don't stop, does it?
No, mate.
I mean, that was a good result against Arsenal. I mean, it's friendly at the end of the day. Whether we won or lost, sort of irrelevant to me. It's only a friendly, like I said about the other two games. But beating those bastards up the other side, I'm always happy whether we do that in a friendly or whether we do that on the pitch or, you know, whether it's down the alleyway. As long as we beat them, I don't really care. And yeah, and then obviously we have a very good signing with Paulinho. We're going to go into that and just a couple of other things. One other point we'll get to quickly is this Sunday at 5 o'clock. I've got a show with Kelly, who is Harvey's mum. And Harvey is the one that me and Sava as well are going to be doing a charity stream for. I think we're going to split the streams up and everything. Me and Sav are going to sort everything out on that. But 7 o'clock, 5 o'clock on Sunday, going to be on here with Kelly, Harvey's mum. And she's going to tell us all about her son, Harvey, who's a young Spurs supporter. And there's a lot of issues in his life. And he needs some help and a bit of support from us other Spurs fans. But on Sunday is where all the information will come from his mother, as I won't even be able to read out half the issues. I can just about say an English name, let alone say half the medication and everything else. So big up to Harvey if you're watching, and his mum Kelly, and we will be seeing you on Sunday at 5 o'clock. So, going to say hello to a couple of people quick and then just go with the flow, basically, like we do. And Jimmy Hotspur, big up Dan and the chat. Good evening. Good evening to you, mate. Hope you're all happy with the result. And George F., we are now strong favourites for the Premiership. Of course we are, mate. Without a doubt. We were strong favourites anyway. What even made you think different? And Rick C, big up everyone. Come on, you Spurs. Big up to you too, fella. And top G14. Paxio to Marseille for 30 mil. And we bought Odeberg with that amount. It's who we are, mate, isn't it? I think that one's going to stick with us for a long time as well. Yeah, there's been a few others we could go with that one, but we're going to that one as well. Destiny 5, evening, Dan, evening to you too, mate. And also saying he's a SAR man, Magic got on the ball. He plays at Tottenham Hotspur and he comes from Senegal, SAR man.
We need to talk about him, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, magical on the ball. I wouldn't quite go that far personally. And obviously, we can have a chat about him as well. But big up to you too. And Top G14 also saying, for me, this is a transfer window in terms of incomings. Will never be done until we sign an a left wing, and a striker. Well, again, we can go into that because this team definitely does need some topping up in other places. And Claire G, evening all, evening to you too. And Top G always saying, love what Porro did to Lego Head. Yep, can't complain with that. And Top G always saying, my right wing back. Lisa, big up to you. Hope you're having a good day and good evening. And she is saying, evening, Dan, Ben, and the chat. Much love. Much love to you too. Come on, you Spurs. Destiny 5, bless him. Let's go, Spurs fans. We'll be there. Good on you, mate. And Gary Officer, big up. Gary Officer. God, that's a bit of a serious name, isn't it? And big up to you too, mate. Jordan, big up as well. And I can never read out your first name. Edwardson, Hotspur Hood. Hey, Dan, come on, you Spurs. Big up to you too, mate. Marius, big up Dan and Ben. Big up to you too. Also, Ghosted saying, big up to everyone. Big up to you too, mate. And Lloyd the Yid, big up Dan, bro. Big up to you too, fella. Destiny 5, saying like Ghosted. And Paul, how you doing, mate? Hope you're having a good evening, like the rest of us. Big up Dan and Ben, who is coming in next. I suppose that is one only time will tell. I mean, we've got ideas, but I didn't think we saw this one really coming. I mean, it's one we've been saying needs to happen. And Scott just saying exactly, and big up to you, Scott. Jordan as well. If Spurs win the Premier League under Frank, I'll go on stream and destroy Stell. Mate, if Spurs win the Premier League, you would say that one is a miracle. I don't see that one coming. And big up to you anyway. And Archer always saying, I think Frank will get more goals out of Solanke than last season. I do think Solanke is capable of getting more. I just still don't rate him as that big striker that we need who can win us a significant amount of games through his own skill up front. But yeah, I can see him scoring a couple of ways. I mean, look, at the end of the day, Ange was playing a lot of people out of sync, and we know that. And it's already showed with our defence. It looks more solid. And Boomverse, big up to you, mate. Hope you're having a good evening as well. Big up, Dan, and all. Football fine. Nice result. Signing. Same slick. Slight hand trick. Being pulled by Enoch and Levy. Yes, that wouldn't surprise me as well. And Archer, big up, Dan and Ben. So, right. Let me just start this with Paulinho. How do you feel about that one, Ben? I mean,
yeah, mate.
Been screaming for since his first season at Fulham.
Yeah.
Wanted to sign him from then. Wanted to sign him on his second season as well. And then Bayern Munich was interested, so we didn't stand a chance in hell. And yeah, didn't have the greatest seasons at Bayern Munich. Wasn't the worst, but I think he only got about 17 games in the league, if I remember right. Between 15 and 20, let's just say. Wow. And I still wouldn't have said no to buying him. I didn't think Spurs was even going to go for him, if I'm going to be serious, because of his age. But a loan, 5 million, I've got no complaints there. And I must admit, I am a very, very happy man with that. I think that is a signing that we needed desperately, more than a striker, more than a winger, because we needed some domination in that midfield.
Yeah.
Because most of our team, it just seems like, let's just say they wouldn't antagonise you too much or worry you in a pub, would they, if they had the ump? Half of them, you feel like you could slap them with a wet paper towel and they'll fall over. Not meant to anyone in particular, like Johnson. But, yeah, so what's your opinion with that one?
Yeah, mate, I'm over the moon. It's nice to see that we finally, we've finally gone out and we've picked up a problem position, because realistically, that number 6 role for us has been, how long's it been since we had decent number 6? Højbjerg? How long ago was that? 2 years ago?
No, if you want to say a decent number 6, we're going back to Wanyama or Dembele.
Oh, come on. Højbjerg was all right. Yeah, you know.
Oh, lay off. But you won't know Wanyama.
Calm yourself down. The last season, he was bad, admittedly. But before the last season, mate, he was fucking bang on it. He was a good player for us.
I don't think he was a bad player, but he was not on the same level as Wanyama or Dembele. You said a decent DM, yeah? He was all right. I mean, Højbjerg, he got his job done when he had to. He was all right. But
what? You know what? Chat, back me up here. Forget his last season. Yeah, because he was hiding. He was terrible. I'm talking before his last season. He was banging. I thought he was a great CDM. He was a general. And you know what? I liked his attitude as well. I'd have made him captain at that time, to be honest. But, you know, that's neither here nor there, really, is it? But,
is he? I mean, like it even gets said here by Hayden, like Højbjerg was not our last really solid 6. It is Wanyama. Yeah, he wasn't really an out-and-out 6, I'd say. It was, I'd say he was a bit more of a deep-lying box-to-box sort of thing. But honestly, mate, you cannot tell me that Højbjerg was on the same level as Wanyama or Dembele, for fuck's sake. I mean, Dembele was quality, out-and-out quality. There hasn't been many men in the Premier League who were better on the ball than him.
See, now we're different. I've never viewed Dembele as a number 6, ever. Ever.
We played him as that though a lot.
He was a covering number 8 for me. At his best, that's where his position was. I would never call him an out-and-out number 6. If I'm honest, that's just my opinion.
Well, he started off as a striker.
What, Dembele?
Yeah.
Mate, he moved around a little bit, didn't he?
Not in Holland, he was a striker. I mean, but look, on the chat, anyone tell me, is Højbjerg on the same level as Wanyama or Dembele?
No,
don't do that to me. To our last one. I said, give me a decent one that we've had.
I said, I never compared him next to that. You're trying to fuck me with the chat.
And I said Wanyama or Dembele, and you basically changed it round to that Højbjerg was in their league, basically. I think you need to translate this differently for people.
Somebody clipped it. All I said was a decent number 6. I never compared them to Wanyama. You did that, not me. Okay? You did that. Wanyama is clearly better than Højbjerg in a number 6 role, obviously. Dembele, I wouldn't really put him there. He did a fantastic job. Jesus Christ, you could put him fucking anywhere. I love Dembele and one of the most underrated footballers of all time.
Excellent,
but no,
on his feet, without that, excellent on his feet.
The way he glides, good lord, it was a thing to see. But anyway,
size of the fella as well. He was built like a brick shithouse.
What was he? 6'1", 6'2"? He weren't a small lad, was he?
He wasn't a small fella. He was proper hench as well. But the way he was on the ball, it was nearly impossible to get the thing off of him. It was a shame he had to go, really. What? I mean, in that aspect. But going back to Paulinho, then we'll call that 1-0 to me on that one because
thank you, Destiny.
Højbjerg is not on the same level. He was decent. He was all right. But no, I get it. Was he on the same level as Wanyama? No, that means that's irrelevant. You cannot put him on the same level as Wanyama or Dembele.
I didn't put him on the same level as fucking Dembele or Wanyama. All I said
Højbjerg, let's just agree to disagree. Højbjerg got the job done when he had to. Let's just say that. And personally, I think we could have done with him a couple of times last season, if I'm going to be honest.
So he wasn't a decent number 6 for you?
He was all right. He was nothing bad. He was nothing good in that. Nothing special. I'd say he was all right. And last season, I think we could have actually dealt with him a couple of times and actually used him a couple of times last season, if I'm going to be honest with that. So I was one who wasn't necessarily wanted him out as such. But
I did towards the end. He was hiding big time. The last season he played, he was just hiding. It was shocking. Shocking. And I think that's the problem. That's what people remember.
Going back to Paulinho then. Go on, carry on with what you're saying. I mean, I would say he's the first solid DM we've had since Wanyama and Dembele.
Yeah, without a doubt, mate. Paulinho that's a huge signing for us. And like I said, it's a problem position, something we have been absolutely crying out for. And we finally got our man, you know. He brings a wealth of knowledge, doesn't he? A wealth of experience. He's someone that we really need for those tight games. You know, I mean, again, we don't know how we're going to play yet, but, you know, what a fantastic option he's going to be, you know, especially against, especially them big games, should I say. He's just going to be brilliant. And I'm so excited. I think there was a stat I see floating around just before he went to Bayern Munich. I think it was you who told me actually. Didn't he make something? His tackling stats were like 100 better than anybody else in the Premier League. Was that you who told me that or no?
It was probably Savin that brought that one up. He's the one who loves to go with the hardcore stats and everything. But when you actually look at his stats, yes, it was. I mean, Brian, if you want to jump on, mate, just tell me. I'll send you the link. Didn't know you was awake yet. And yeah, going back on that, I mean, his stats and that were pretty much second to none, basically.
Yeah.
In that aspect.
No,
when it came to doing what he did, getting the ball, getting rid of the ball, getting in front of things and everything, he was solid.
I think it's sad how he's gone to Bayern. And obviously, look, listen, like we can all question why didn't it work out. I was one of them, I still am. But realistically, I suppose if you look at it, the guy had Kimmich to contend with and Goretzka to contend with. You know, these are good quality players. Kimmich is a world-class player.
Going to Munich, you have got some serious competition there. You're talking about one of the better teams in the world, sort of thing.
Which, funny enough, begs the question: why the hell did they actually want Paulinho? I find, considering their depth in that kind, that position, I find it a bit strange. Different jobs.
I think when it comes down to it, he looked bloody good at Fulham, and seriously, and with his stats and that, it showed it as well. I don't know if they actually bought him with intentions of using him as an out-and-out first 11 player sort of thing. Because, I honestly don't know. I think they might have bought him as a bit more of a squad player.
No, I mean, he's still got. Do you already want in chat? Well, yeah, 100%. But do you or anyone else in chat have any idea how much was paid for Paulinho?
About 50 million euros, I think it was, which works out at about 44 million, give or take a million. So they spent a bit of money on him.
That's crazy. That's a lot of dough, mate, to not be used. See, that makes me worry even more. I don't know why. No, look, listen, he's Prem proven. We know what he's about. We know what he's capable of.
At Fulham, he was bloody good. And from coming from Bayern Munich to Spurs, just because you don't get in Bayern Munich's first team regular, it doesn't mean you're a bad player. Like you said, when he's got players like Kimmich sitting on his arse and everything else and that, now he's got to come over here and he's got to worry about Archie Graham Basuma.
Yeah, he's going to find it real tough getting that Spurs team.
Bit of a difference there, isn't it?
Yeah, just a little bit. No, look, listen, he's going to be a wonderful signing for us. I'm super, super excited to see what he brings to the table. I wonder if he will be used in our game against. It's not new. Who's next for us? Newcastle.
Newcastle's next friendly we got on Sunday, and I think over here it's about 12:30, something like that.
I wonder if he'll be. I mean, probably not, but I wonder if he'll get a few minutes. It'd be nice to see him. Yeah, he's just a great signing. I'm over the moon. Oh, couldn't. What's that? What are you giggling at?
Just someone saying, "What's this? The Two Dorman show?" Yeah, shall I put that on there next? Just put Dorman on there. Done that, mate. Danny Brixton were pretty. Let's put it that way.
You ain't coming in, son.
But anyway, go on with what you were saying. Sorry.
No, look, I'm really happy, mate. Really, really happy. We finally addressed a position that we've struggled with. I mean, right now, the way I'm kind of thinking is on to the next, really. Paulinho is fantastic. I hope we start addressing other positions as well. But yeah, overall, I'm over the moon. What about you?
Like I say, I've been asking for him since he was at Fulham, basically. After his first season at Fulham, I've wanted him at Spurs. And I just do feel it is a position we have needed to cover for a very long time. I mean, if I build a team, I prefer to build it out from the back sort of thing.
Yes,
I do like a solid goalkeeper, and then I want my defence, then I want my midfield, and then I go for my strike force, whereas other people build it a different way, each their own, whatever turns you on at the end of the day. And with that, even if our strike force ain't great, I feel you can dominate a game more from midfield than you can any other position. And with that, literally every team that does it has got whatever you want to call him, a tank man in there, domination fella, whatever, and that, who can hold his ground, who can slow the game down, who can get that ball, who can interrupt a situation, basically. And we did not have one of those players. Now that you've got Paulinho sitting there, and if you go and put Benton Core next to him, like I agreed with Sava this morning in the end, Sarr next to him in certain situations, not that I rate Sarr really. I mean, don't get me wrong, excellent goal he scored against Arsenal, but he hasn't done nothing for me to change my mind yet.
Wait. Are you talking about Yaya Toure? Is that what you're talking about? The future. Yaya Toure.
Well, if you think the future's that bright for him, good luck to you. But he's gonna. I don't change my mind over one goal on 98 minutes.
Put some respect on that boy's name. No,
Bergville is another one we can have sitting there. You know, it looks stronger, that midfield, whoever we put next to Paulinho straight away. So I do feel it is a position we have been screaming for a long time. Because last season, how many times we got dominated in midfield was unreal. And how many times that we, and down the flanks, everything else. But in midfield, we just got totally battered every time, basically. So I think it's a brilliant signing. I'm absolutely happy with that. I mean, on 5 million on loan, you can't really go wrong with it, can you?
No, 5 million, 10, wasn't it?
No, 5 million on loan. 10 million was with Tel. We've done 10 million loan with Tel, for fuck's sake.
I want to talk about that. Right, so it's 5 million, and that's amazing. I thought it was 10. And it's what, 30 million buyout, which I think is very nice. I did tell you it wouldn't be 15, 20.
Well, no, that was if we buy him. Basically, we got him for 5 million on loan. And again, I'm not complaining with that. He's got experience to him as well. I didn't think we'd go for him even on loan, really, if I'm gonna be honest, because he just don't seem to fit into that Spursy sort of project that we've supposedly got. And I mean, for me, he's an ideal player in that aspect with everything, but he just didn't seem to fit in that project if they're sticking to it. I mean, we seem to have gone and got the way I would have done it was got the experienced players first, and then bring the younger players in. But at Spurs, we seem to have done it the total opposite way round and get younger players to then maybe bring in a big player, older player, more experienced. Either way, we've got him now, and I think that's a big part. And then we've got to go cover other parts, basically. So, to be honest, I'm happy as a pig in shit with that one and take it from there. So, where we got to take it from there then?
Well, I think you've either got to address the left wing, because I am not comfortable with Tel playing left wing. You know, and obviously I know we're going to discuss it later, but we have our theories about Heung-Min Son. So I don't want Tel starting the left wing, and I sure as hell know you don't either. So, you know, we're in agreement there. I'd start at the left, and then I would move on to striker. However, from what I've seen, there are rumours circulating about a possible striker option in Kolo Muani. Have you seen that?
Yeah, I've seen a couple of things about that. I've seen him play on the left, I've seen him play on the right, and I've also seen him play as a striker as well. I mean, as an out-and-out striker, I don't know, I do question that one a little bit, but then again, I wouldn't say no to buying him. I mean, we've got Solanke and fucking Richarlison up front, for God's sake.
Absolutely. Terrible.
I mean, Richarlison has definitely got to go in that bit, in that aspect. I mean, one or two people even mentioned like he had a man of the match game against Arsenal, and I'm like, what did you watch? I didn't watch the game until late last night, just rewatched it basically because I was busy during the day. And Richarlison, he's that sort of player on the pitch who can just be a right pain in the arse that you just he gets that annoying, you just want to slap him in the face basically. But the sort of person he is, he'd hit the floor before you slap him, sort of thing, because he's just an annoying little prick. But he does do that job well, but when it comes to finishing, the only one who I can think that was worse was Werner. I mean, because when it comes to finishing, Richarlison just has not got it.
Yeah, I mean, look, listen, I think you're going to have to cover the costs of the fucking claw marks that he's going to leave on the floor on the way out of the stadium. I think he's going to, do you know what I mean? Do you know, I can literally see him. No, see. Well, where is? I can honestly see claw marks. And someone is going to have to reconcrete that. I don't think he'll leave. I mean, we discussed this the other day. Like, our players live in luxury, don't they? Why the hell would you want to leave? There's no demand on you to win trophies. You train out of a 5-star fucking hotel. You know, everything's beautiful. Everything's brand new, spanking. Who wouldn't want to be a Spurs player? What a wonderful life. Don't worry about winning, son. Don't worry. You just get yourself back in that 5-star complex. Just a little bit of R&R. You relax, mate. So why would you want to leave? So getting players out like your Basumas, like your Richarlison, it's going to be a big ask, mate. Big ask. I mean, I saw a crazy rumour not so long ago. Please don't quote me on the team. It was someone from Brazil. Apparently, were willing to put in a £55 million bid for Richarlison. Are you
I
on
didn't see
crack?
that from Brazil. I think that was Saudi Arabia. I don't think
No,
Brazil would spend that sort
no,
of money.
So it was Brazil. It was the money they got
Okay.
from that new Club World Championship or whatever it is.
Fair
So
enough.
a lot of Brazilian teams got a lot of money from that. Yeah.
They
So
just don't usually have much to spend in Brazil. I mean, that sounded more like a Saudi one, but if it was, it was fair enough.
Yeah. It's just it's 100% what I read. But again, it was just a rumor. It clearly wasn't true. Well, that was probably about a week ago, something like that. But yeah, so yeah, really and truly, mate, I do not know how you're going to get. I mean, look, realistically, the only way you're going to get rid of Richarlison is if a bigger team comes in for him. And do you see a bigger team coming in for Richarlison?
No, I don't particularly see anyone fighting for him as such. I mean, he's got to want to leave, same as Basuma. He's meant to have already had options, but blew them out, basically.
Yep.
And I don't think it's because I agree with what you're saying. I don't think it's quite. I'm sorry, I'm just laughing at what someone said here, like kicking and screaming. Yeah,
he will.
He will. Going to be like that. I mean, where else he's going to pay the money that we pay him and put up with him? I mean, his injuries as well. I mean, for God's sake, when he's sitting on the sideline, I mean, this is no offense to no one, but you might as well bring a fucking wheelchair with him. He's injured that often, for God's sake. He's a frustrating player to have.
Yeah, do you know what? It's weird. I don't think his injuries. So I was watching a little thing with Troy Deeney the other day on someone's podcast. I'm not too sure. I can't remember. Old man, brain like a sieve. He was saying he really thought and still thinks that there's more to come from Richarlison, but he said if it wasn't for his injuries, he would be right up there at the tippy top in terms of performances. I mean, look, listen, I really, really rated Richarlison a few years ago, way before he joined Tottenham. I did. I thought I there was something about him that I liked, and he was producing as well at the time. But no, look, listen. With him, no matter what happens, he has to go. He's just not good enough. And here's the thing, like Mr. Levy, you spend 50 million on that clown, but you won't go out and buy some real talent with that sort of money.
What? I think he was more than 50 million when we got him, wasn't he?
I hope he wasn't.
I can't remember exactly how much he was. I mean, Solanke was like 65. I think with Richarlison, I think he was actually above 50. I mean, when we went and bought him, I was just like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, to me, I mean, it's personal opinion at the end of the day, but I mean, even at Everton, he looked better on the left than he does as a striker, and he don't look that good on the left either. I mean, people tried giving it a bit of stick to me, like when he went his 12 games and scored about 11 goals, whatever it was, consistently. I was like, yeah, well done, mate. It only took you 50 games to do it. I think he scored 2 goals before them in nearly 50 flipping games. So, like, yeah, fair play, fella. I'll give you a Blue Peter fucking badge as well. Honestly, I didn't rate him at Everton. And I don't rate him here.
No, he. All I know is for Tottenham, mate, he has been poor, and that's me being polite about it. Hold on, what's this question to panel chat? Lose Richie,
and get Grealish all day long.
Again, it's fucking getting rid of him. He won't leave. We've tried. He's like that drunk uncle at a Christmas party. That's what he is. You know, like he's done now. Go on, off, go home, mate.
Yeah. And then always gets dropped by a member of the family because he starts giving it to someone's wife or whatever, and then has to find his own way home. Yeah, I think a lot of people have had one of them in the family.
Thank you, Giant. Appreciate that. Palmeiras was the team that put in for Richie, by the way. Giant.
With that, I think it's like a couple of players. They are going to be hard to get rid of, but aren't they? I mean, it's a World Cup year now, isn't it?
Yep. Is it?
I mean, yeah. Basically, end of this season is World Cup. Season coming on, end of that, we got World Cup. So surely, if he wants to get in that Brazil squad, then he's going to have to start showing something and performing and also getting into the games. But in that aspect, the fact that they even consider him as one of their players, for me, that just shows how shit Brazil have gone downhill. I remember players like Rivaldo, Ronaldinho, the real Ronaldo. I remember players like that up front, and now they're talking about they got Richarlison and Jason.
Hold up. I got one for you. Richarlison is the Brazilian equivalent of England's Emil Heskey. Don't tell me you like Emil Heskey, please. He's literally the butt of a joke. Oh, thank God.
No, I just thought he actually done the dirty works alongside Owen, basically, in that aspect. He just done the dirty job there, and Owen done all the pretty stuff as such. But not saying it's a player that I ever rated or anything. But I mean, like John's saying here, send Richarlison out on loan to Everton, at least just get rid of him, even if it's only for the season. Yeah, I can totally agree with that. I mean, one way or another. I mean, if we turn around and say threatened him or Basuma or whatever else, like, you ain't even getting picked for that 25, and you're going to go train with the boys, basically, which they can do at the club and everything.
Yeah.
Would that even change his mind? Or has he just really got that much of a I couldn't give a shit attitude? Because surely that would affect his chance of getting into the Brazil squad.
It's horrible, isn't it? Because it's why do we get players, right, that just won't leave? Like, it's such a common occurrence for Spurs. And again, I think it's a double-edged sword having a nice stadium, having a nice training facility, because they feel so entitled. I don't know how you're going to get rid of someone like Richarlison. I don't. I really, truly don't. I mean, and also, who's going to come in for him? And listen, Daniel Levy, he's not going to accept 20 million for Richarlison, who he paid 50, 60 million for, not but what, 3 seasons ago?
I honestly don't know on that one. Yeah, I mean, surely isn't that one where just someone, even a good businessman, needs to sit down and just say, do you know what, I'm going to have to cut my cuts and losses on that one? Isn't that one of those ones, basically?
No. How many players have we had? How many players have we had in that situation where you're like, just cut your losses and crack on? Look at Dembele. Look at Dembele and Lo Celso. I mean, Lo Celso is better than Dembele, but Ndombele. Good Lord.
Ndombele.
Sorry.
You know what? The annoying thing about him is he was actually solid on the ball and had some skill on him. His problem was, at the end of the day, he was just too fat and lazy, if I'm going to be honest.
Dan, I hate Ndombele. Let me tell you something. Ndombele is, and I'm going to say this with my chest, Ndombele is Tottenham's biggest waste of talent of all time. That kid, that guy, that man could have been world class. He was sitting people down like Conte, like it was nothing. If he had the mentality to go with the talent he's got, we're talking about a fucking world beater here. Even Gareth Bale. Gareth Bale was asked the question, and he was like, who's one of the craziest looking players you've ever seen in training? And he could have said anyone from Madrid. He was like, Ndombele. He goes, the things he does with the ball, I just don't know.
A lot of people did actually big him up, and you see it a few times on the ball. He was more than capable. He just didn't have the mentality for it, and he just couldn't give a shit. And by the end of it, like I say, he just ended up too fat. I mean, half the time when he got the ball, he looked like he was on his bloody iPhone and that, ordering a fucking McDonald's. It just...
I've seen Uber come on the pitch.
You know what I mean? Like with his little rucksack on and that, his little orange rucksack running over to him, giving him his Big Mac. That is literally how he came across in the end. The player pissed me off no end. And he was another one that altogether cost us well over 100 million on what we had to pay to get rid of him and everything else and that.
200 grand a week we put him on.
Yeah. We do have this habit of just hanging on to players too long, don't we? At least with Son, we can still get some money. And we'll go to that in a minute, yeah? But at least with Son, we still get a bit of money for him and that. Because whoever he goes to, they get the money back. But with players like that, we just seem to cling on to them. We don't seem to let him go. I mean, what's Ben Davies still doing here, for God's sake?
Oi. You fucking leave Ben Davies alone. He is 7 out of 10, Ben. You leave him alone. He's a loyal servant to this club. And I'm doing that emotional thing again, ain't I?
Yeah, you are. You're being very emotional now. Smoke your fag and calm down. Breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth, mate.
I'll be quiet.
But yeah, we do hang on to players. We do hang on to players too much. And I think that is going to be one of the issues we've got in this transfer window. That we do have to actually get rid of some players as well. We do actually have to get rid of some for the squad, basically, I would have said. I wouldn't say it's a money issue as such.
Okay, so who
we've got money there.
Who's your list? If I gave you a list of 5.
God, you know what? I need the list in front of me to think about.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'll put you on the spot there, and
Ben Davies definitely has to go for me. But we've got worse there. I mean,
Yes,
we've got
we
to
do.
get rid of, I'd say, 2 in midfield to bring in another centre. Who it is in midfield, I really couldn't care less. I mean, get rid of Richarlison. I'm going to say Basuma, even though I think Basuma is a good player when he's played the right way. He's had 3 years in now, and he just ain't.
And
just
no
ain't
manager
done it,
will play him that way. None.
I don't know about Frank. He might well do, but the
Oh,
other positions he's been played in is more defensive as such, and he ain't defensive. So I'll go with Basuma as well. I mean, if you gave me an honest option, I'd get Johnson out of that fucking squad quick as. But he does score those little tap-ins. But unless Frank's going to play him in a way, which is all he's got to do is run up to the post and tap it in, I don't see much of a performance off him. I mean, I think I've seen him perform. And what I mean by perform is like over 70, let's just say over 70, 75 minutes on a pitch, yeah? I've seen him do that about twice in about the amount of games he's had. With that lack of overall performance, that's not going to do you no favours in bed at home. So I don't see how that's going to do any favours on the fucking pitch. But he still seems to get those tap-ins.
You can't.
You know?
We've said this before. You can't argue with the boy's numbers. He is an enigma of a player. Is he dog shit? Absolutely. Does he score goals and make assists? Yes, he does. I really want to talk about Sarr, by the way. I keep seeing his name pop up.
We will come to him. Go on, I come to Brian. How are we doing, mate? All good?
Mate, a long sleep now is 2 hours for me. So I'm exceedingly well rested. That was a really good, I'm not even calling them power nap now. That was oversleeping for me. So I'm replenished. I'm refreshed. I'm good to go. How are you both? And everyone in the chat?
Yeah, had a long day, but all cushy, mate. All sweet as a nut. Yeah, happy with the result and happy with getting Paulini in. So I'll ask you quickly then, Brian, seeing as you come on. I mean, what's your attitude with us getting Paulini? Just to hear your side of your story.
Absolutely delighted. Do you remember when we were speaking, Dan, with your mate Dave, and I said about the getting Europa League rather than Champions League?
You were the first one who brought that up. It took me about a week, and I agreed with you on that.
In that exact stream, if you go back, I say Paulini would be fantastic for this football club, and that was under Ange.
I wanted him after his first season at Fulham.
Yeah, but you, what you got to look at is, and I'm loving that Spurs are actually doing this. Frank has said, and we saw in the pre-match talk, win your duels, win the second ball. Is like
yes,
and that's exactly what could. Come on, Ben. Me can't pick up on something Frank said.
Mate, I love it. Sorry, I can't even.
The fact that Thomas Frank has said that, and we've got Kudus, who has the most take-ons and in the Premier League, and also one of the biggest work rates for winning challenges, and then Paulinho, who was 100 clear of everyone during his time in the Premier League. The transfers are making sense of why we're going for them. Whether you like the player or not, they actually fit what Frank needs to do. Rather than going, right, we need this. Okay, let's go get that does something different. Might be the right position, but might not be the right attributes for the player. These ones are just the complete perfect attributes for a Thomas Frank team. It's a fantastic and smart, very smart signing on loan.
I mean, I would have quite happily bought him because I still think he's got another 3-4 years in him. And where he's a player that does not rely on pace as such, I feel those that don't rely on pace usually have a longer life in football as such.
Yeah.
And I just think it's an excellent buy. With that, I am happy as a pig in shit with that. Even though he's 30, whatever the experience comes with, I think he is exactly what we needed in midfield. Let's just hope he produces. And I think he's got more than enough capability to do it.
Damn right. Listen, if you look at this, he comes to London, which he knows. English won't be a problem. Premier League knows. With the youngsters around him, will help. We've said that we've got these young players. We need some experience. He ticks that for the Premier League, European football, international football. There's not the only concern which we know is sometimes with his injuries. He had that bad injury. But if Spurs can get the Paulinho at Fulham, then we have just got one hell of a player in in Paulinho.
Yeah, I mean, he might do great wonders as well. Because I mean, you couldn't ask for much better to learn off, could you? Really? But Ed, I wanted to say this real quick. So obviously, you picked up those two things, Brian. Of course, you did. There was one other thing that he's really sort of stuck to the players, and it was put your body on the line. Put your body on the line. Look, we haven't really spoke about the game as of yet, but
last season it looks like no one used to do that, Ben. It looked like the only player we had who was willing to put his body on the line was Danzo when we had him.
Yep.
And the way he done it a couple of times, it looked like he was willing to stick his wife on the line as well, basically.
That Arsenal game,
got involved, mate.
100%. That Arsenal game, you saw those three things massively. Every player, including wingers, were putting their bodies on the line when it came to box defending. It was a beautiful thing to see. I mean, look, I'll be honest with you, lot. I only caught like the last 30, 40 minutes of the game, and that was when we were kind of penned in. But may I just say, and listen, I don't think anyone could have said this for a long time. I didn't feel threatened whilst watching that style of defending. And what Brian said a minute ago about the other two things, you can really, really see already that has been implemented into the team. And what a nice thing to see, So
I get what you're saying.
Hopefully more to come.
I said it on Savas this morning. I mean, I watched it after, so I didn't obviously watch it live. I had better things to do at the time. Well, I say better things to do. I had things I had to do at the time. But watching that game, even though knowing the result, I can't say that if I'd been watching it live, I'd have felt too threatened. I mean, I think they caught Porro once or twice over on the left because I think he inverted once or twice. But I don't think it's bad that a wing-back does that. No. It's just only do it once or twice in a game. You don't have to play the whole fucking game sitting as a number 10, basically, and then do the diagonal run across the pitch. Like, just let's not even go back to that shit, yeah? And then down on the right-hand side as well, I thought, look, I said for Ange last season, if he would just sort out his defensive issues, in other words, stop inverting and come back a little bit, I think that's 25, 30% of his problem sorted. And that's where I said, Frank coming into this now, in one aspect, there's going to be one side of his job that I think is actually quite easy. Like Ange had it quite easy, as all he had to do was kick the fucking ball forward, and that was 90% of the fan base on his side, which he did. And I think as what Frank has to do, one of the easier jobs he's got, is all he's got to do is sort out that back line, and it already looks like he's done it. I mean, it was that simple of a job that I think one of us could have sorted it out in the aspect of you two don't invert to a number 10 every 5 minutes, and you two come back a little bit, and we'll have a solid back line. It is literally that simple. I mean, Brian, what do you think on that? I mean, I think our defence looked organised. Our team looked organised. It's only a friendly, but I focused on watching the defence because that's where I think our biggest problem overall was last season.
Mate, I have to tell you what. For someone, I just say, for someone that used to react to all these trolls and rage, I used to react badly during the Levy out protest week in, week out. Anyone came for me, I bit. I took the bait and I bit. There's someone in this chat right now who has always looked out for me. Very, very good. Junior Mafia always looked out for me. He is the king of doing it on Twitter, of doing it to people. Love him dearly. His influence has rubbed off on me because I have gone rage baiting to get in some fish. I've sent you another one that where our good friend Meta Football TV has chimed in. It's brilliant. And I was saying, because loads of people. Well, one of the best things that that happened is I put. Do you remember, or did you see on Twitter where loads of people, when we were going for Frank, put Ange's results against Brentford up and go, "Oh yeah, really good manager." Ange's beating him every time.
Yeah.
So I did a tweet basically saying, "Shall I start putting pictures up of how Ange did against Arsenal now? Is this how it works?" And let's just say I've caught a few nibbles. And like you said, buddy, not at one point in that game was I concerned defensively. Not one. And you know the best thing about it? Not only was I not one, because also our midfield had shape and came back and helped. But I can't believe I'm saying this, and especially after 3 or 4 weeks, I am not in the slightest bit nervous when we give away a corner now.
Yeah.
Not in the slightest. They're defending correctly. I mean, those coaches have come in when Ange came in and we started seeing the first preseason, we were all looking at this going, "Oh my God, what kind of foreign football is this? No one can stop us."
Oh, it's wonderful.
And it was wonderful. And the first 10 games was brilliant to watch. Brilliant. All right, the results sometimes, like the last minute Sheffield United, the 1-0 at Luton, they weren't always the prettiest, but a lot of them were to begin with. And we got so that's the way football should be. I actually thoroughly enjoyed watching that game. And you know what I love? A lot of people coming back and me going, but Arsenal had the ball in our half most of the second half. I was like, okay, do we concede? Did we actually get to see the team defend a lead? Did we get to see the team see out a game? Did we get to see the team actually hold on to something? Yes. And that's what you need to do sometimes. You need to get the win. I ain't calming down at all, Matt.
No,
I ain't calming down at all. Listen, Matt, I've got a lot of time for you, buddy. I said to people for ages, this is the man I want. This is the man we need. A lot of people on YouTube, a lot of my friends will testify to it.
Since I've been doing this for nearly 2 years now, you said it from day one, same as you said you wanted Gibbs White as well. Yeah,
Matt, it's always good to see you, buddy. But like I said, people will talk about this. Let's see if there's a few. Is that better, people? Has that made a difference? Let people know, because I've got this box thing and I don't know which one's the volume. It's very technical, and that's
fine. It's fine as it is, mate.
Okay, cool. So yeah, like I said, Matt, appreciate what you say, but when people were waxing lyrical about other people, it's like when you get a player in that you want. When you see a baller and you talk about it non-stop, Thomas Frank is going to be incredible for us. Incredible. This is a bit, it makes me laugh that people want you, when you are negative, oh my God, back the team, support the lads, do this, but then when you actually do that, stop it.
Yeah.
Stop it.
Only at Spurs.
No, I'll take Frank, mate, even when we were looking at Arne Slot and Nagelsmann last season, or Ange, Thomas Frank, from the moment he beat us in Harry Kane's last Premier League game at home, Thomas Frank. That's the one.
I've got a question for you, Brian. How about this, mate? Right. So underneath Thomas Frank's wonderful leadership, who do you see improving the most?
Well, you've seen it with Pedro Porro.
Yeah.
I think Pape Matar, who a lot of people were like, okay, what's he going to be able to do? I would say he's the one that's grabbed the pre-season by the horns. And really, for that midfield place, I do think Solanke will have a much better season. I really do. Still think we need a striker. Maddison, because he's going to have a lot more free space.
Okay.
There is a good few players. I mean, Spence had a great game, but obviously that was him playing his first game. I think, hello, Lisa darling. I think there's going to be a good few players that improve. You just look at it. I love how they've adapted very quickly. Like we saw with Ange, they changed it. They look in shape, and obviously it's not just Frank. Justin Cochrane is going to do great stuff. The coaching staff we have alongside him, I think, is the best coaching staff we've had in the Premier League era. And when I say that, it's because they've all got their jobs to do. Not because Frank.
Would you say that over Pochettino's?
Well, Pochettino, all right, let's put it on par with Pochettino. Pochettino just brought in 3, and obviously football's evolved a lot further since Poch, where it's all this. We've created new roles, like the role from the academy into the first team, the transition. The goalkeeper coach from Liverpool, who's worked with Alisson and everything, he's going to be incredible for us. I mean, you got one of the coach that, in my eyes, has been coaching the best goalkeeper in the world. So what's that say? I'm not saying that the coaching team are absolutely vital. When have you seen us bring in 8 coaches or whatever the amount is? And the medical team, I am very, very. Poch came in. I think he goes with 3 everywhere. I think he's got Perez. He's got another 2. Mourinho had his patch together and brought in 1 himself. Thomas Frank's coaching staff. are fundamentally important as well. But Frank, like I said, will improve players. Obviously, players have got to get out the door as well. We've had this discussion before, Dan, haven't we, on the last show?
I mean, on a question there, then, yeah. I mean, it was only last week that we basically had the air raid sirens on and everything and that, and people were saying, "Get Frank the fuck out," basically. Yeah. Do you not think we're going a bit hyped with this friendly? Because for me, it was just a friendly.
No, it's not.
And we looked better. We looked more organised. Everything else, I will give it that. But I ain't going to get excited over this just yet. I still need to see some games into the season. But what I think I saw there and what I think will happen is I think there's going to be a bit more calmness in the team. Because I think last season, I don't even think the players knew who the fuck they were, let alone where their companions were on the pitch, sort of thing.
Yeah.
Defense looked shit scared of the goalkeeper. The goalkeeper looked shit scared of the defense. The defense looked shit scared of the midfield, and the attack was just all over the place. The whole 11 there was just, I mean, to say cack-handed would be a fucking understatement. But it looked organised. Players actually looked like they knew what they was doing and what they was there for. But that's only one friendly. We've got a long way to go yet, I think. But I do think, I mean, the question I think, can you ask? People are asking, who do you think he will improve? I'm going to turn this around because who do you think he won't improve? Because I personally think a majority of that team, he will improve them. Because in that aspect, it's not really that much of a hard job to improve them to what they were last year. He has to get them back to standards, then improve them as a player, the way I see it.
Just very quickly, Dad, I just want to say, to get over a friendly, this is a Premier League team. I don't care what anyone says. Against Arsenal, it's not a friendly.
No.
Arsenal had pretty much a full team out that they had last season. If I was about to say to you without looking up, because I just checked it to confirm, when was the last time Spurs kept a clean sheet in the Premier League?
Good question.
Pass.
February the 16th, Manchester United.
February
the 16th.
Fuck off.
Was the last time Spurs kept a clean sheet.
It sounds about right. I mean, I'm not going to argue with any of it because it sounds about right.
Like I said, we've got the first 3 games of the season, 3 managers that play 3 different brands of football.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, it's a good test to see Frank navigate how he won't play the same setup, may play the same formation or slightly tweaked, but he'll have a different setup and formula to try and beat all 3 of them, obviously. That's when, obviously, that will be the first test. After Saturday, like you said, when we had the 2 results against Wickham and against Luton, and they weren't great performances. They weren't great at all.
Only half and half teams, wasn't it?
Exactly. So
but that Spurs fans went into meltdown, Brian.
Exactly, which was that. Then you beat Arsenal away, which that Arsenal away. You know what I mean? Arsenal, not the. Mm-hmm. And we played. We were missing Maddison, who came on, missing Solanke. I'm sure there are other people missing, but whoever. And we put. Listen, I think defensively in midfield, we've shown from the defensive side we can do it. Frank can get them to do it against us. Now we need to see creative. And when we see Maddison, Solanke, Kudus, and whoever is going to play on the left or bring on the left, then we see the attacking side of it.
I'm definitely looking forward, Brian, to seeing Maddison involved in this.
Yeah.
Because, again, I mean, I hate to keep relating it, but at the end of the day, the way you improve from the past is you look at the problems in the past and then you improve on those problems. People say forget the past. Well, if you just forget the past, then you don't know what you need to improve on, yeah? Okay, it's done, it's dusted, it's over. But we will keep comparing it. And for me, it's not so much comparing it it's just comparing to the way we've done things, where we needed to improve, i.e. defence being one of the main issues in that. And Maddison's one of his biggest problems. I mean, for me, it's a phrase I've got for a couple of players, but I do think he does come under that category of he can be a right little bitch on the pitch at times. As soon as he gets a couple of kicks or it ain't going his way, he does get a bit bitchy. But on the other side of it, I'd be getting pissed off as a number 10 when I've got my 2 wing backs sitting next to me within 6 foot, my 2 centre mid sitting about 10 foot behind me, my striker sitting directly in front of me, and the inside forwards basically sitting next to me as well. What space did he have to do anything?
Mm-hmm.
I think this is going to give him some space, and we can see a more consistent, better side of Maddison overall, as long as he don't get bloody injured, because he does have a habit of that as well. He's a bit physically soft, isn't he?
Can I answer that question you asked us a moment ago about who do you think Thomas won't be able to?
Oh, yeah, that's what we were meant to do. Sorry, but go on,
No, right. So I've got one player in particular that I'm a little bit nervous about, and only because he's going to be playing a brand new position, and that is Dominic Solanke. This season, he'll be playing striker for the first time since joining Tottenham, which will be pretty crazy for him because if I'm not mistaken, he's been a fucking CDM since he joined the club. Am I right in thinking that? Yeah.
He's not far from it.
Right, this is what I'm worried. Can he perform at striker is what I want to know. No, look, I've got my doubts over Solanke a little bit. And again, joking aside, I assume he's going to be pushed right up and he'll be told to stay on the shoulder, hopefully. And used as a target man like Tony was.
Exactly. That's what I was saying.
But what I've been saying.
Yeah. So hopefully.
But Ben, he has only had one good season in his entire career.
Yes, he has. That's why I've got the questions. I mean, look, listen. If you can get 20 goals for a Bournemouth team that were doing all right that season, but not particularly amazing, you've got to have something to you. I mean, look, sometimes, and this happens, we've all seen it, sometimes players just have one of those seasons where everything you touch turns to gold. We've seen it. Michu. Do you remember Michu from, I want to say Swansea? Was it Swansea? Do you remember Michu?
Yeah, the one went like this when he scored.
Yeah, that's it.
Yes, I know what you're on about now. Yeah.
He had that season where he was fantastic and then poof, gone. So I do wonder whether or not Solanke's got it in him. I mean, look, listen, obviously his story has been a bit sad, isn't it, Solanke? He's gone to numerous clubs, failed, even though the boy's clearly got talent. So I say boy, man, really. I wonder what his capabilities truly are going to be under Frank. He makes me nervous a little bit, and I do think we need another striker. But yeah, he might be him and maybe Bentancur. I think Bentancur is at his max most of the time. I love him. I do, because I've seen some fantastic games from Bentancur, but he's just not the same player since that injury. So yeah,
I agree with that.
Those two are the only ones I worry about. I don't know, Brian. What are you saying? Who do you think might not?
It's hard to say without getting the players out the door.
Yeah,
because you'd think the ones that he thinks aren't going to do well, he'd want to get out, wouldn't you?
I mean, think about what you're going to say, Brian. I'll just bring up a point here. Dave Clark, you're always on the show, mate. And I must admit, very 50-50 with your comments. I've agreed with stuff you said, and I've disagreed with it as well. I mean, you keep having a goal at Maddison. No, I don't. I actually rate him quite highly as a player and was one of the ones who said, get this fella at Spurs. Yeah, even with all his injuries, which are contact injuries, because he gets kicked about and you say he's soft, which is ridiculous. Personal opinion then, if that's your opinion, whatever turns you on, I would still say he's a bit of a bitch on the pitch and does get a bit moany even when he gets a little kick. And he does. I've seen players take harder kicks than him and stay up, basically, and keep playing. Even the Leicester fans said he gets injured way too often and it just don't come down to getting kicked all the time. He is a bit soft in that aspect. I mean, I'm not saying he's got Weetabix for ankles or nothing, but then again, I wouldn't say he's the most physical player out there either. So I'm not having a go at Maddison just because I'm picking out what a player's not great at as well as what he is great at. And I think he's one of the best playmakers and got an eye for a pass before the ball even gets to his feet in the Premier League. So that's just looking at both sides of the angle, basically. But okay, if that's your opinion, fair enough. In my opinion, he can be a little bit bitchy at times. But go on, Brian, with what you're saying.
Yeah, no, I'm just trying to think. Do you know what? I'm not saying this because I don't think Frank won't there won't be a player that doesn't develop. I literally can't think of players to say, because I do think Solanke, once he's got Kudus running down the wing, if we get a brand new left winger, Maddison there, and obviously with Paulini now winning the ball, the offensive players can stay up top. So I think Solanke, and you've got to remember Solanke, when he had his one good season at Bournemouth, he had an on-fire Semenya supplying him non-stop. So if he got the service and he stays in the box, like we say, with Tony and everything, He'll get goals. It's very hard for me. I can't really think of a player that won't improve with him, but that's solely because at the moment I don't know what the squad's going to be.
And realistically, he is a manager that improves every player he's got. So it's very, I suppose, it's a
majority
really question to answer, isn't it? Really?
Yeah, I mean, let's put it. Let's talk. I'm not talking about him in this bracket, but I'm going to use for an example Mickey van der Ven. Not saying, believe me, I think you'll improve him. But Mickey van der Ven, we had this conversation with Dan has mentioned it as well. Everyone's going to see this season what he can do defensively, because he's not going to have to constantly make those last-ditch runs like he was doing on a regular basis for Ange.
And that's what made him stand out, wasn't it? In that aspect, that's what made him stand out so much.
That's what made him because of his pace and those last-ditch challenges. Well, yesterday was his first experience of having to do that without having to rely on his pace. I don't think he switched on the afterburners or even got out of second gear pace-wise yesterday, and he did everything right.
Well, he doesn't have to, does he? He doesn't have to in that system.
No, exactly, but that's the thing. He was allowed to defend. The only thing that I think he did, which he should have done better with, was the header from Tell's cross to try and make it 2-0. But we know Ariel is probably, if you're looking at his card on top trumps, heading would probably be his weak spot. But that's the thing. When we see the positions and what he's going to play people, like I would have said that I didn't think, as much as I thought Sarr could be his type of player, I thought at the time of MGW coming, his days could be numbered or not got there. I think he's the player that's, apart from Porro, I think has been the standout. He has been the one that has said, right, you know what? I'm going to show Thomas Frank what I can do. If I was to pick my midfield now for Burnley, and it was just based on what we saw, Pape Matar Sarr is the first midfielder out of that double pick, in that midfield that I'm picking.
Yeah, let's do this.
And I never thought I'd say that. I never thought I'd say that. I honestly never.
No, let's do it, Brian. Let's talk about Sarr, the Sarr man. I won't start singing the song.
The lawnmower, as one of my friends call him.
Listen, right? He's what is he? 20, 21, 22 years
around that.
About 22, coming on 23, Dan, I think.
Leave him alone, mate. All right, he's a quality little player. He's got a fantastic engine.
Fuck off.
He can pass. He can fucking score. Leave him alone, mate. He is.
I mean, he's played over 100 games and he's scored, 10 or 11 goals for us? That's not exactly a wholly...
between 19 and 21 years of age in the Premier fucking League.
If he's in the Premier League and he's good enough to play, and people saying he's a good goal scorer and he scored 11 goals in over 100 games, that's like, what, 1 in every 10, 1 in every 12 games?
That's
hardly a good goal scorer.
No, I've got one for you. Right. In the last 2 years, has Sarr looked out of place?
Yes.
Oh, fuck off.
At times, Ben, you know what I will say? At times he has, but what I will say, go back to when Ange first starts his very first season. We drew Brentford 2-2 for the first game. And then I think it was Skippy who started against Brentford.
Yep.
And he dropped Skippy and played Sarr. So it was Sarr, Bissouma, Maddison. During that 10 game and the start of that season, Bissouma was on fire and Sarr playing alongside him was incredible. And it looked like there was a real partnership there. Then when Bissouma got sent off against Luton and it started kind of going downhill for Bissouma for that part of the season, season after the AFCONs and everything, Sarr continued to do it for a good little while. And it was like, well, maybe people thinking Bissouma was making Sarr look good. It was kind of like, was Sarr making Bissouma look good? That's how well I thought he was playing.
Yes. But Dan,
you got to remember the midfield and our defence, because the defence was so exposed and the midfield was just so unbalanced, and what he looked out of place last season. But you could say that with so many players last season. So many players last season. Right. Like I said, there are players that with certain managers, there's just something that switches on or ticks and they just go up a level. I just think 21 years of age, right? And obviously playing younger previously. 21 years of age. I think every team needs a player like Sarr. And we don't know what Sarr's going to turn into. There's no real... What are you... I'm not even going to get... I ain't talking to you, Dan. I'm done. Right? Hear me out. Every team needs an engine man.
I'll go with that.
Right, but and again, he's 21 years of age. So you've spoke about consistency. Fine. He's 21. You know, consistency is a thing that comes later on in life, especially for footballers. I mean, again, he's not a world-class footballer, is he? So expect that to improve over the next coming years. But he can do a bit of everything. He is a brilliant engine man. He will not stop running. He's not the world's best passer, but he can pass the damn ball. We've all seen it, okay? He does
very average.
No, fine, but he's got a knack for popping up the goals as well. So he's a goal threat. You know,
one in every 10 or 12 games. That's hardly a goal threat.
Regardless, he's still a bit of a goal threat, mate. And you know, we've seen him bang some decent goals. God damn, he scored some fucking wonder. Do you know what? Right? He's hit
and hoped a few times and scored a couple. I'll give you that as well.
Okay, but you know, at the end of the day, like he can bury him. All I am saying to you is, I think you have wrote him off way too quickly. Is all I am saying.
I just think we see things different, yeah. And I think the thing is, I think a lot of people have just got a different way with words and what they expect to it. I don't use the phrase world class very often. Like when people tell me Saka is world class, I'm like, do one. He's not a world class player, yeah. Very good, but if you want to talk about world class, and I'm not going to go into it, right? If he's world class, then what the fuck was Figo? He must have been a god, yeah. Maybe I've just got different standards, different levels to some people, and maybe lower on certain standards. What I call a quality player is a very, very good player who produces game after game. Sarr, for me, I'll go with that. I mean, and Sava made a good point of it this morning, that he has got a solid engine on him. And I did back down a little bit on it. There's certain games where he will be useful in. But apart from his engine, I think he's in the wrong sport, personally. I think he should be an athlete. I know you have to as a footballer these days, but I think he should be in athletics. I think it'd suit him better. His passing's bang average. His shooting is wonky as fuck until he closes his eyes and does it. I mean, getting round people, he's not the best at it. He's better at going through people than round him. But in general, apart from his engine, I don't see what you're saying, that he's got a bit about everything. And the other attitude I've got is that if you are good enough to get in that squad and you are good enough to get in that first 11, okay, one layback I'll give a couple of players, like Archie Gray and that, is the lack of experience. But if you're good enough to cost that money and you're good enough to cost 75 grand, I will judge you exactly the same way as that other player. And if he's not playing good enough, I don't care whether he's 18 or 21, he's in that first 11. He earns 75 grand a week or 80 grand a week, whatever it is he's earning and that. So I'm going to judge him the same way. And I must admit, I do not see nothing special off of him as such. Like some people are saying he's top quality. Now, do I think he can improve? Yes, I do. But I think you have the same sort of problem with him that we see in Bergvall. And people are going to say, what's your problem with him? Nothing. I think he's a young player who I think has got a bit of talent on him that's going to improve. But when it comes down to it, you don't see much in the final third with Bergvall or Sarr. You don't see that direct ball. You don't very often see that shot. You don't very often see that extra bit in the final third with them. So that's where they need to improve. I just don't think Sarr's as good as a lot of other people.
These are children that we're talking about, realistically. Look, I'm just going to go over what Brian said. I think
22 is not a child.
Maybe not so much Sarr, but look, I'm just going to go over what Brian said. He's got it bang on as per. I think Sarr has taken this opportunity by the scruff of the neck and gone, right, I'm going to stake my claim. Let the boy cook. I honestly think there is a lot more to come from Sarr. I'm excited. Look, I'm just saying.
No, look, let me stop you just dead there. Brian, you are bang on, mate. Dan, remember a few weeks ago how many were calling Sarr out, wanted him out? And I was one saying, do you know what? I would not be bothered if we sold him. And then after two friendly, times have changed.
I'm one of them. I'm one of them that was, like I said, if Morgan Gibbs-White came, I would have thought there could have been a way out. There could have been a way out for him. But the only thing I'll say about this on the other side, or more on Ben's side than yours, and Dan, we'll see what you think about it. We've gone on for a long, long time how Spurs need experience in this team to help the youngsters. Whether you want to call him a youngster or not, 22 is still young. You don't call him like a youth academy. He's in the kind of next stage before he's like a seasoned professional. Let's say
23
in a month. 23 in a month.
He's not a kid.
No, he's not a kid, but he's not a. He's got 100 Premier League games, but we've been playing him for so long. But he's not one of those like
experience.
Yeah, he's still got experience. But this is the thing: we've said we want some top talent like proper experience, like Paulinho, to come in and play alongside. Listen, he's got Bentancur and everyone, so he's got those kind of players that got experience. But we always say that, like, and I keep mentioning it, when Dele Alli came in, he had 10 other players that were at a top level when he came in. Don't get me wrong, Dele was up there, but he had someone to help him through the games, to look after him and everything. Maybe Paulinho can do this with Sarr. Obviously, the age difference is night and day. I just think there is something, not saying, listen, if Pape Matar Sarr doesn't start, or Pape Matar Sarr is a casualty for Thomas Frank, then so be it. But from what we've seen in pre-season, yes, it's only 2 games and he scored those goals. One of the things I loved with Wickham was the first goal. Yeah. When the ball got parried out, he was the first one making that run in. Yep. He got ahead of the strikers. He saw something. I don't know if they see him as a 6, if they see him as an 8. But I understand where the debate can be around him. Because I said I'm kind of here and here, but you got to be able to say you think he's done well in games or he's looked good, and you can only beat what's in front of you. And if he hadn't scored the goals, if we hadn't scored the goals against Wickham, we lose. He scored the goal yesterday, which, let's face it, any goal against Arsenal is a brilliant goal, but that one was special.
It was a great goal. Don't get me wrong,
mate. It's fantastic. I mean, also, for someone was saying that his shooting may not be up to par or whatever, you've got to have some. Obviously, Raya gave him a helping start, having that amount of space open. But how many times we see people go for it?
I mean, as I said, Destiny, what are you talking about? Are you banned? Is there something going on in the side, or have I missed something here? I mean, bloody door. Yeah, go on. Sorry, Brian.
Yeah, no, I was just saying this is the thing with Sarr. This is where it goes to when we're saying who do we think is not going to succeed under Frank, because he played. Some of them might not fit in the 4-2-3-1. He says, but then when he goes to a 3-5-2, there might be players that excel in that position in one formation. So, you know what? We're with Ange Postecoglou, and let's say even Conte, who we knew 3-4-3, 3-4-3, 3-4-3, 3-4-3. Then it was hard. It would be a lot easier to go, right, I don't think he's going to succeed. I don't think he's going to succeed. Ask me that question again when the window's closed and we see who we got left. And then we go from there.
I do think that's a fair point, but I can only judge by what I see. And I think some people on here made like a fair comment, like ghosted here. But then these younger players was getting coached by Ange for 2 years. Yeah. Yes, yeah. I do get that. And I suppose if you're going to say that, then is it fair that you have a dig at any player? Yeah. I mean, but my point is, I just don't think he's as great as people say. Okay, he can get better. I haven't said otherwise. If we sold him, would I care? No, because I genuinely don't. And on the other side of it, I think Frank can improve him, yeah, but I have to see it to believe it at times. I'm sorry. This is why I'm not a religious man. I have to see things to believe them. And with that aspect, I just think there is a hell of a lot he can improve on. And I don't think we'd miss him that much, but I also see it as just, it's like just not far off 5 days ago, the air raid sirens were on and Spurs were in meltdown. And then all of a sudden, it's all hunky-dory again. It's all sweet as a nut and everything. And Sarr is a magnificent player because he scored 3 goals in 2 friendlies. I do think we get a bit hyped up a bit quick. But that's just an opinion at the end of the day.
No, let me ask, when you say the sirens, obviously I was devastated and heartbroken with Morgan Gibbs-White. Thank God I was out at a barbecue, because if I'd been at home, I would have jumped on a stream and probably done something that I could never ever take back. And so that was, and then the lack of transfers was an issue. I haven't had the side, obviously for Thomas Frank and the way the team have played, I haven't. Yes, last Saturday needs to be better. There's no alarm bells or panic or sirens for me.
Not from my side.
I know, it's because a lot of people think all of a sudden we're going to be the Harlem Globetrotters of football because Frank's been here for a month, and all of a sudden everything's going to be crisp, perfect. We'd be purring. And as I've said, and as we said, I'd rather have a pre-season like this where Frank sees issues that he needs to address and fix, rather than a pre-season where you're smashing teams left, right, and centre, and you're like, oh, maybe we don't need as much strengthening as we think we do. And then we get into the season, and it's like, oh shit. So we obviously got to remember we've got a lot of people that are suffering with APRS, which is Ange Postecoglou rage syndrome. And the second that something goes wrong, oh my God, Ange would have done this, Ange would have done that. Oh, I mean, I even saw with Arsenal, they were like, well, Ange had 14 injured players. How many's Frank got? Well,
yeah, and how many of them players did fucking Ange injure?
Yeah, but they've also just had the pre-season or off-season off, and they've come back to training, and it's the start of the season. You don't start the season normally with loads of players injured from playing in competitive games. Mm-hmm. So there's just social media can be both a wonderful and a ridiculous place to be. And the people that are having the alarm bells thinking, oh my God, this style of football's boring, this kind of, like you said, Dan, when we appointed him, and I was sending you those videos, when you look at those videos and see what he did, like when we talked about the team talk where he said, win your duels, win your battles. Brentford last season was second in the league behind Everton for most aerial duels made in the Premier League. Just like simple, aerial duels made, being competitive in the air and doing that. Where do you think Spurs finished in that table?
I dread to think.
Just for aerial duels, it isn't about tactic. People in the chat, where do you think Tottenham Hotspur finished?
It's a random guess, but I'd say about 18th because we really, I mean, we was one of the worst ones for in the air as well, weren't we?
17th. 17th is where we fit, and that's just one metric. That's just aerial duels and being tough in the, obviously putting the pressure. And this is what Thomas Frank does. So we are going to be physical, which we were last season. We're not going to be a pushover that we were last season. So the people just think, oh my God, we've got to be playing like how we started with Ange's pre-season, where it was just non-stop, relentless, free-flowing attacking football that no one had seen, like what we saw in the Premier League, did to Barcelona in pre-season. We're just playing, the football was brilliant. It was like, oh my God, where has this been all our lives? Let's have some of this. And then we know what happened. It's going to take time.
Right, on that point, mate, I want to ask one more question. Right, I've seen this go around a lot, and people really are asking the question. I know it's a bit premature, so forgive me for asking this. Where do you think Thomas can take us this season in terms of league finish?
Right, just let me read out.
Go, you do that, bro. You do that.
TJ, thanks very much, mate. It's much appreciated. You guys rate Enzo Miller.
Yes, we're looking at him.
Is he playing in Germany?
France. Didn't he?
Wasn't he at Stuttgart last season? Or did he go from Stuttgart? I can't remember. I mean, I can't say I've seen him play. If I remember right, he's in Germany at the moment.
I thought it was France.
But I can't really judge him because I haven't seen him.
Yeah, you are right. Stuttgart.
Yeah,
Frenchman.
I know he's French, and I was pretty sure he went over to Germany. I can't say I've actually seen him play, so I can't really judge him on that. I don't know about you two.
Do you know what? I'll be honest, and I have never seen him. I didn't even know this player existed until we were linked with him. So I was like I said, I watch.
Had all to do with Danny Rose. Google it.
Yeah, I would have had to do. But that's again, obviously he's well known with people. A lot of people say that he would be a great player for Spurs. But again, not heard of him. And Thomas Frank has done, not saying that he's an unknown like Mbeumo and Wissa and all the ones that Frank has brought in and developed, but I'm sure he's a lot further along the line of that and well known, but I just simply didn't know him.
No, I can't say I've seen him play. I mean, I've heard of him, and that's about the best I can say.
He's a Danny Rose player. I've never heard of him either. Ever. Danny Rose.
You know, it's just one of them things. I can't say I have heard of him. But going back on what you were saying, Brian, on basically what we're going to do under Frank, and I've known you about what I'd say definitely coming on for 2 years now. I've been since Tommy gave me this channel, and pick up Tom, much appreciated. Doing well for yourself when I went to see you a month or two back. From when I first met you after doing the first show I did going on Sava's one and having it out with him, that was quite amusing. And you've said from day one that Thomas Frank is your man at the end of the day, and you've wanted him from day one. And I've rated him as a manager. And when it came to choice of managers, yes, there was others who I'd rather had in there, and that was what's his face at Palace, Glasner. And I would have personally wouldn't have said no to Inzaghi as my second choice. I mean, I think he's a good manager. Yeah, completely fucked that last game up. There's no two ways about it. But the way PSG dominated Inter, I don't think I've ever seen Inter get beaten like that before. That was actually embarrassing.
Yep.
And yeah, Thomas Frank was probably my third choice. Or I didn't mind the Fulham coach either. But Frank was my third choice because he was what we needed. He was a coach. And I just feel managers in his positions that he's been in, it's like when you go for players who get player of the season. 9 times out of 10, it's always a bloody striker because he scores the goals. Midfielders hardly get looked at. Only now and again, hardly ever does a defender or goalkeeper get looked at, even though they could have had a spectacular season. But because they don't do the shiny stuff, they don't get the credit for it. And Frank hasn't really had a chance to do it at a big club. And we are a big club, not one of the elite, but we are a big club. And we got to be about 20, 30 times the size of Brentford. I mean, just our stadium is, for God's sake. And so now he's going to a big club. But I don't think he's had the fair credit where it's due. He got Brentford up, okay, managed to claw his way through it. But of the 4 years he's kept them there, it's 4 years. This is their 4th year. Going to be their 4th
This will be their 5th year. This will be their 5th.
Yeah, the 5th year. He hasn't touched that bottom 3 once. Not once. And the question I do ask a lot of people, now, take it with a pinch of salt. Some people say Pep is the greatest manager ever. Not in my opinion, but definitely up there with the best. I would love to see someone like Pep go and take over at Brentford and see if he could keep them in the Premiership to the extent that Frank did and not slip into the bottom 3 and that. Not saying he can't do it, but I would love to see an elite manager go and do that. Not just a manager who's got it all on the palm of his hand with everyone he wants, but I know that's not easy either because you've got dealing with the big boys and that is not easy because of how they love themselves off and that. It's a total different ball game, I suppose, you're playing. But I would love to see what people call an elite manager be able to do what Thomas Frank did at Brentford. And this is where I don't think he gets fair credit because it's just Brentford is the way people look on it. And no disrespect to them, but they're a significantly smaller team. And I think that's what quite a few people looked at it as. Like Thomas Frank was almost a step sideways, not a step forward.
Yeah, I have to say, what you just said about that, could you imagine the Premier League says we're going to have our own version of wife swap for a season and every team is going to go and have a different manager for the season to see how they do. And then Pep gets someone like you said, like Brentford that don't have the big budget or do anything. Listen, his coaching is brilliant. There's no getting away from it. But he's a coach that has had every single star man and can have whoever he wants. It's always going to be that thing, isn't it? Those big elite super managers in the Premier League or a top European league, could they do it with the lack of spending? Can't go out and say, right, we'll pay you the big wages. Big up, Dave. It's like we said, Thomas Frank, I think, should we have lost to Manchester United, fans would have gone, do you know what? I get it. I get it because we won it and now we're in the Champions League. People are writing him off because he's never been in Europe. Okay. Well, is that his fault at Brentford and Bromby? Well, people expect how many people at the start of the season, whenever you've done predictions with any of your friends, family, work colleagues, and you said, who do you fancy for the Carabao Cup? And someone's gone, do you know what? I think it's Brentford's year. Not one.
I get where you're coming from.
Not one. I don't think even Brentford fans would say it, in all honesty. His aim has been to keep Brentford in the Premier League. That was it. Keep Brentford in the Premier League. And like you said, not a single day in the bottom 3. He's built and he's built and he's built. He had a bad season the season before last. But he had Ivan Toney out, his main guy, because of his ban for a majority of the season. This season, they brought in the guy to replace him. He got a season-ending injury before the season even started. He's going to do very, very well for us. So I think you said as well, predictions. Where do I think he's? I think it was you, Ben. Yeah. I was 8th. And I said, if we had got Morgan Gibbs-White, also I'll start reflecting. But the signing of Paulinho, I'm already saying 6th. I've got up to 6th now. Because you look at Newcastle right now in a Taylor woe, and they will get rid of Isaac. And will they be able to get a striker? They need an elite striker or a very good goal scorer to come in immediately.
That is a good point.
They need it. So that I think Newcastle will be fine, but I don't think they'll be challenging.
Good midfield though.
They've got incredible.
I think their midfield is brilliant. I mean, it's a midfield I would scream for.
It's fantastic.
The way they play in midfield is how I would want my midfield.
If they don't get that striker right, because I think Bruno Guimaraes is one of the best midfielders in the league. I absolutely adore him. I think he's absolutely sensational. But I think they could be in trouble. No, when I say trouble, I don't mean relegation or like what we were last season. I mean just not hitting those heights to challenge for the top 5, 6. I think Villa could be the same. So that's two of the players. They could be
in a little bit of a tight spot with spending money, didn't they?
Exactly. So
because they spent too much money on the season before as such and didn't have enough comeback of this season as such.
I think the Champions League was vital for them, wasn't it? For their wages, it was vital that they got that spot and they were in for it. And they didn't. But now it's about getting the players out or in. And I don't see why. Let's just say we get. I mean, Paulinho's done. Let's say we get a left back that we've come out and said we wanted. Let's say we get a exciting left winger. Let's just say we do get one, whoever it may be. We can all say names, but it is really an attacking, offensive lift, and we get another striker. And look, I've just said a lot of things that need to happen, which I can't see all of them. But with a well-drilled team, why can't we go for the top 6?
I think that's close to what I'd say at the moment. I'll come to you, Dave, next. I can see us going for getting a 7th. I mean, the top 5 for me is already written. I mean, the top 2 for me. I mean, at the moment, the top 2 for me out there is Liverpool. I think they now have a team which is worthy of a treble. That is how good I think that Liverpool team and squad is now. Yeah, they look fucking deadly.
Yeah.
And City, not a million miles behind them at all. But I do think Liverpool have actually got the better team. So I'm thinking Liverpool going to get that league. And then Man City. And then I think 3rd and 4th is going to be a big fight between Arsenal and Chelsea. I think them two are going to have it out. I mean, I suppose it does depend how good Gyökeres lands for Arsenal and everything else. And yeah, that's going to be a tight fight. 6, maybe if we get another player in. But I'm looking at more 7th sort of thing. And I think we could get a cup out of the season as well, personally. But then last season, it was harder to win the League Cup than it was the Europa Cup, in my opinion. So, Dave, good evening to you, mate. How you doing?
I'm on the wine, Daniel, so don't take advantage of me, please.
Well, not tonight, mate. The snooker's on as far as I know. But with everything Brian just said, where'd you go with that?
What, in terms of where we're going to finish the season is in terms of Spurs?
Yeah, and what we're going to do with Frank, basically.
And what we're going to do with Frank, yeah, so that's obviously, I haven't been listening for long, about 15 minutes or so. So my view on Frank is along the lines of probably Brian more than anything. I'm very happy with the appointment. It feels like we've got an adult in charge of the club again in terms of the football. Yes, he hasn't got the history that you can say, oh, he's won this, he's won that. But ultimately, he's a progressive coach that's taken better jobs each time he's moved on. And I think he's a very experienced football coach, maybe not as much as a football manager, but as a football person and a football coach, I think he's got a lot of experience and a lot of pluses for him. I think I was listening to you the other day, Dan, and I think a great comment was that this team needs a coach more than a manager. I know that was said several times last year as well. But
Sav has been saying it for ages as well.
Yeah, 100%. And I think he ticks a lot of the boxes because we can't shop at the very top level, whether that's players or managers. And I think he's at the top of the level that we are shopping at. And you listen, with all managers, and most managers don't last long, right? Every manager gets the sack pretty much in the end. But I think he's got the tools to be successful. And as long as we sit there and give him enough tools to work with, I think he will be a success. But catching the second part of what you were saying, as I was listening there, what is success for Spurs? And when you reel off what Liverpool have been doing, I mean, that is how you act when you're on top. Is you sit there and you go buy the best players to fill the positions you feel you need to improve on when you're on top. Historically, Spurs have never done that, but Liverpool are acting like the big club they are. And given Arne Slot, thank you very much for coming in and winning a league with players that you didn't sign. Here you go. Here's the brilliant players that you are signing to fit your system. However, the only caveat I will give to the Liverpool one, I totally agree, by the way, great signings. So they've obviously already won the league last year, so they're going to be up there again. The only caveat I will give, they're getting rid of quite a few big players and getting a few big players in. That kind of transition might not be as easy as it looks on paper. That being said, on paper, they look incredibly scary. I think Man City, don't forget, they are in a transition phase over the last 12 to 18 months. And I think some of those transitional signings that they've made would have had more time to bed in. And I don't want to go on a Pep Guardiola rant. But my views on him. Yeah, you know my views on him. I don't think he's as good as people say he is. However, he is a very good manager still. And I think Man City will be better than they were last year. And I wouldn't be surprised if it's them to a little bit of a gap from everyone else. Flip a coin for me who wins that league, Liverpool or Man City. I think Chelsea is strong, Arsenal is strong. So when you're looking at that top four, are Tottenham going to get in there realistically? I think if we've got top four, that's almost, I don't want to say it, but that's almost winning a league title for us, because I think that is above and beyond what we can expect of Thomas Frank to deliver in his first season. So if he gets that, it's got to be treated as a very, very successful season. Thomas Frank is an absolute genius. Realistically, I was having a chat with my line manager actually earlier in the week. He's a big Man United fan. I was asking him and he was asking me kind of how we're doing in the pre-season. I'm quietly confident that with no Europe for Man United and they've signed players for key positions, they're going to be up there again. So I didn't disagree with that view. I think they will be up there again. When I say up there, top 6, top 7, top 8 or whatever, you've got Newcastle in there. So, and above Villa. Let's keep going, right? This league keeps getting stronger and stronger, competitive and competitive. You could argue whether it's the best league in the world, but it's the most competitive league in the world for sure. And Tottenham, I think, realistically, if we come at the end of this season and we're in that top 6, 7, 8, qualify for Europe via the league and had a really good cup run in any of the cups, I think that's a successful season for me if I'm being a realistic fan. Of course, I want more. I'd love to get challenging for the title. I'd love to win a cup on top of that. But realistically, my realistic ambitions are that sort of league qualification into Europe, because that means we've had a good solid season in a very, very tough competitive league. With the squad we've got, I don't want to go through the squad, but I don't think our squad's great. I think we need more than 2, 3 signings. I think we need a good 12, 13 signings if we ever want to be on that top table.
I get where you're coming from.
But I think Thomas Frank is a great signing for taking over from not Ange's mess, because that's a bit harsh on somebody who's won Europa League for us. But it does feel a bit messy in the club at the moment, and the types of players we've got in that squad as well. So I'm realistic with Thomas Frank. He's got my back in. I hope he does well. I hope we give him a bit of patience as well, because it's not going to be easy. But I think it's a very, very sensible signing as our manager. Let's give him the backing we need. That's the bit I'm always worried about, with Spurs. Will we give him the backing he needs? Whether that's us fans or Daniel Levy and the board financially with the funds to buy players. But yeah, that's kind of my overall view of Thomas Frank and the situation.
I mean, so go on then, Ben, on the whole situation then. How do you say it with basically everything that everyone said?
Well, where do I think we're going to end up? Look, listen, I think with Thomas
and about Frank as a whole.
Well, look, with Frank, I think we definitely, as a club and a fan base, we need to really lay off him this season. He has got a lot, and I do mean a lot of how to put this. Look, with Ange Postecoglou, we all know the way he liked to play, and you're going to have to drum that out of the players. There was a lot of mistakes made last season, and Thomas is really, really going to have to try and drill into the players what he wants and how he wants things to be done. For me personally, from a personal standpoint, I would say anything above 10th, I would be reasonably happy with, only because you've had 2 years of terrible coaching. I mean,
Was there even any coaching? I think
Well,
is
this,
the
this,
question.
this is the thing. Like, I mean, look, listen. You know how I feel about Ange. I don't completely hate the guy at all. There's a lot of things about Ange that I respected. But you know, you've got to kind of coach a lot of the things that Ange has done out of these players. And you know what? If I sit with my neutral head on for a moment, in terms of the players we've got at the club, I do think we've got a lot of players that could vastly improve because you know, players like your Sars, your Bergvals, your Greys, maybe even your Tells, who knows, your Odebears. You know, I think we've got a lot of young talent that could really, really sort of be notched up a gear, maybe under Thomas, you know, who knows. But no, for me, anything above 10th, I'd be over the moon with because, you know, Thomas has got, I think, quite a big job on his hands trying to coach out the players, all the things that were done wrong last year and the season before. If I'm brutally honest with you, um, I I know the Spurs fans and probably a lot of us are going to get on his back fairly early because that's what we do as a fan base. We jump on people, don't we?
Again, probably some of the worst supporters in football.
That
In the
is
Premier
blasphemy. No, that is blasphemy. I don't know why Spurs fans get given so much shit. We are just a normal fan base like everyone else.
No, we are not.
Yes,
I
we
disagree. But we'll get to that in a minute. We
All
got
right,
two others
okay.
who have a good opinion on this. We'll come to this next. I'm even going to fucking write it down, Ben. Go on, keep
Yeah,
going.
you do that, mate, because you know what? I've got something to say about it too. Right.
I was
Okay,
about to say,
Ben,
we're definitely not worse fans.
Yeah, Ben, I may have been with you with Sar on your side more than I was Dan.
Hey, Brian,
I can tell you now, I'm constantly on
Let's do it. I'm down.
bit.
I'm ready. I'm ready to go.
Come on,
But
Ben,
yeah.
finish what you were talking about first.
Look, so, end of the day, with Frank, I just think we all need to be really, really patient with him because he's clearly a great manager, but he will need time. So, at least 6 to 8 months of just let things slide a little bit, and we see where we go from there. But yeah, he just needs some time. And anything above 10th, I'm happy with.
I must admit, going for 10th is a bit lack of ambition there for me. I mean, 10th.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong, it's an improvement from last season, which is about the only thing we could do worse than last season, part of the cup, is get fucking relegated, for God's sake, which I think Ange had the capability of doing us. That's why I wanted to see the back of him. Yeah. But in that aspect, I think 10th is a bit low. I think we got to look at least 7th, in my opinion. Let's say between 6th and 8th, like 8th to 6th. I think a lot would go with that. Right, the debate me and Ben had the other week was, I said, this fan base as Spurs, from what I've seen, and this is obviously not covering for everybody, I'm only going by what I've seen in chat, on debates, on everything, and on other football shows and whatever else. I think we have one of the most fucked up fan bases in football, if not the worst in the Premier League, yeah? I think we are so divided. It is absolutely shocking. And when I mean divided, we are split up into more apes than a bloody ounce. And it is shocking. I mean, when it comes down to it, most teams are split down the middle, yeah? But this one ain't split up into just two halves. This one is split up in so many pieces, you probably get a stink out of it as well, for God's sake. Brian, go for gold, mate.
Mate, I don't, mate, listen, when I used to go to Spurs before YouTube, before content creators, before I used to go, but actually even when I was drinking obviously I'll get wrecked, whatever, but since I stopped drinking, 17 years, blah blah blah, my going to Spurs was meeting up with a guy, girl, whoever I was going with, getting to the stadium, going into the ground, watching the game, after the game, do the reverse. Just get out, get home. Then obviously YouTube came in and social media and whatnot. And my God, what a clusterfuck. I have never seen, and for someone that's been in the eye of the storm on many occasions because of what I've done with Levy Out, because I put myself out there, because everything on my social media is my name, not a fake name, and these trolls with fake pictures. My God, do you come in for grief? My God, I've never known a fan base, and I do mean this, I've never, whether it comes to a player, a manager, the board, the kit, you find something. I have this theory of I know it will never be proven, so we're all good. I reckon if Spurs as a fan base, we're all happy and all agree on something, we all get wiped out. That's it. There's no more Spurs fans. There's no more Tottenham. We become an extinct race. This fan base together when you're at games, especially the away games, are magnificent.
Yeah,
magnificent. But because of social media and because people like ourselves put ourselves in a vulnerable position, put our faces out there, put our thoughts out there, and because people like to clip it or twist it or do whatever, or people coming in, I don't mean anyone in here right now or anything, but we all know what the trolls are like. And they come in and they feed off it and they fester off it. Mate, I've learned to ignore them. I've actually learned to ignore them, and it makes my world a much better place. But this fan base is insane. We are 50 shades of batshit crazy as a fan base, mate. We are a very, very, very strange breed. You've got to have a special something to be a Spurs fan, because this fan base is just nuts. Nuts.
I mean, they do say everyone is unique, but we ain't just unique. I'll say it blunt. I think we're fucked up. Go on, Brian, with what you're saying.
No, I was just saying, this fan base we are so divided in everything. Even, and Scott M, I don't mean this as a dig or anything. So don't take it this way, and I know he won't. We've got people that weren't even happy to be called European champions or taking happiness and delight out of winning that cup. And Scott M obviously has said it's when it comes to, he doesn't deem it as, which is, if that's the way he sees it, that's the way he sees it. But I'm just using Scott M as an example. We've got people, even yesterday, yes, it was a pre-season friendly against Arsenal. Is there a such thing in Spurs fans' eyes as a friendly against Arsenal? And the other way round? No, there isn't. We cannot agree on simple things. Even yesterday, that was a shit performance against Arsenal. No, it wasn't. It may not have been a free-flowing, attacking, great spectacle, end-to-end stuff like an absolute thriller, but we saw some great defending from the team, which we've been absolutely woeful at recently. There were so many pluses from that game, but because it was someone didn't do a Rabona or take on 6 men and curl one from 30 yards into the top corner, and we weren't very sharp attacking wise, it was boring. It was a snooze fest. It was like, no, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. This fan base it's special. I respect everyone's opinion, whether you respect it, but that's the thing. It's nuts. We are Rich. Do you know what I actually was about to say? What you disagreeing on? Then I've got your joke. If you hadn't have done the laughing emoji, I would have fallen for that. But yeah, it's what we do. It's what we do as a fan base. I can't wait to hear what Ben has to say I
got something for you, brother. I got something for you.
I'll come to you last, Ben, because you're going to be the defensive one here. I mean, again, as a fan base, people talk about PTSD. I think we have, what do you want to call it, STSD, if I'm going to be totally honest with it. But Dave, go for it, mate. Your side of it. Are you in defence or are you in agreeing?
Listen, categorically, if the statement is or question is, are Tottenham the worst fans of any club, then I would categorically say no. Because that title, the worst set of fans, is held by a club set of fans that's so far worse than any other supporters in the world of football. I'm talking about Chelsea fans, and I can list the many, many reasons why they are the worst set of football fans going, because they would see the death of football if it meant their club won the last trophy ever to exist in football. They would take the death of football, because the last 25 years, that club has ruined what football is. And they don't care, because they've been winning trophies and they can go down the pub and wind everyone up about it. But they don't care about football. At least with Arsenal fans, they may be our biggest footballing rivals, but Arsenal fans are football fans first. But anyway, so the question, are Spurs fans the worst? No. What I would term it as Spurs fan base is probably the most fragmented and has the most different strands.
That's basically what I mean in that aspect. Go on, Dave. Sorry.
Yeah, it's the most divided because I think there's a lot of different types of Spurs fans these days. And again, with any big Premier League club, there's probably more. There used to be like the hardcore that would go every week, the people that just sit there and follow every result, the people that can get a ticket when they can. Nowadays, there's probably about 20 different types of fans in most of the big Premier League clubs. But I think ours is probably the most fragmented in terms of how the direction they want this club to go into. I think some are obviously happy with the club being very competitive in the Premier League without actually winning anything because they've seen the club grow organically. And I think that's a big thing. And again, Daniel Levy deserves credit for this, by the way, doesn't he? You know, getting us to the top table of European football without actually doing anything on the football pitch to get us to the top table of European football. I think that's an absolute genius move by the man. How can you sit there and be part of this big club of football? The big clubs of football, you know, your Ajaxes, your Bayern Munich's, your Milan's, your Barcelona's, Real Madrid's, and there's Tottenham. Well, what have you won Tottenham in the last 20, 30 years? The Europa League recently, but not much before that, right? Obviously, back in the 80s, 70s, 60s, we were a massive club. So obviously, there's fans that are happy with that progress in the Premier League. Then there's the other fans that I'm probably more on this, that I want to see glory. I want to see trophies being lifted on a regular basis. But then you've got different strands breaking out from that. So I do agree with the fragmentation that, you know, like people are not going to be happy with Frank. And I probably left it off when I was backing Frank up a bit, was they're probably going to get a little bit pissed off with his type of football because at times we're going to sit there and play to try and get points. We're not going to try and sit there and get points for, you know, dancing well. You know, dancers get their 8s and 9s at the end, you know, but they may not actually sit there and win the competition. We're going to sit there and get points. And sometimes to get points, you need to play football ugly. And I think Thomas Frank is a pragmatic manager would do that for us. And people are going to be unhappy with that. So I agree with your sentiment about fans being the worst in terms of being fragmented and not united. Yeah. You saw when, again, going back to our footballing rivals, Arsenal, they got united behind the cause, got rid of their board of directors. And you can see that whole club now over the last 6-7 years. The board, the management on the football pitch, and the fans are all going in the same direction. And we're a million miles away from that because there's a lot of infighting with us fans. There's a lot of infighting between the fans and the board. There's a lot of fighting at board level, right? Obviously, a lot of changes behind the scenes. Won't go into them, but I think we all know what they are. And I agree with you on that. We're the worst fan base in this country based on our fragmentation. But we're not the worst fans. We are a great set of football fans. I think we are football fans before we're Spurs fans. We love the game of football, vast majority of us. And we're very passionate about our club. But we can also have sensible debates with people. Our fan base are probably one of the best at being sort of self-deprecating about ourselves. We'll joke about ourselves. We'll joke about ourselves being poor. Yep. We can take the banter. You know, we're very used to it. But we can also sit there. Yeah, exactly. But we can also sit there and go, you know what, fair play, Arsenal. You're in a good position right now. I'm not going to sit there and be a jealous fan. I can sit there and say you're a good football team, and I will sit there and say that you're better than us at the moment. We're quite big like that. So I want to be very careful when we say we are the worst fans, because I think we're a tremendous fan base and we're tremendous football fans as well. But I agree if the point is, are we the most fragmented and divided?
Yeah, I think I need to be a bit more specific with what I'm basically saying here. Yeah, I'll back up on that bit, and I'll be a bit more specific on what I'm saying. I mean, this is pretty much what me and Ben debated the other week. When it comes to what I'm saying is by the worst, we are the most divided most divided fan base out there, basically. I think that is what I'm more getting at. Instead of just saying we're the worst out there, I should put it in a different manner. We are definitely the worst fans in football in the way we are divided.
Yeah, that's what I meant. I mean, listen, when it comes, like, I echo all the sentiments that Dave just said when it comes to supporting when it comes to supporting the club. I've been up and down the country with this great club, our beloved club. Away games, I've had some of the best experiences of my life. Home games, I've had some great ones. The travelling, the pubs, the camaraderie, everything. Fantastic. When it comes to social media and everything we do like this and what we see, we are we are batshit bonkers.
On the other side of it, quickly, before I come to you, Ben, yeah, the other things I will bring up in the aspect of, I think we are one of the worst fan bases as well in the aspect of, as soon as a young player comes in at Spurs, we talk about him like he's the next Messi, and we put him so up on a pedestal, and now he could, well, fuck pedestal, might as well put him up on a ladder. But when he does come crashing down and he isn't the next Messi, it is pretty bad, and broken legs is an understatement. I think the other thing we are absolutely terrible on is when you've got, it was quite a high amount of fans that I saw last season that would say they was more happy with losing 6-1, 6-3 to Liverpool, whatever, than winning a game 1-0. That's pretty messed up.
Mm-hmm.
But I think, Dave, you've made some solid points as well. Go for gold, Ben.
Right. Okay, look, I'm going to start off by saying something that will probably get me in a lot of trouble.
About it.
With YouTubers, right? And this not just our club, other clubs as well. Who the hell are we to judge fans? Number one, I think we have a responsibility as YouTubers, and not just me. I'm just a guest, but you know what I mean in general, right? I think we have a responsibility. And I've noticed a lot of fan channels, most of ours included as well, really bring up the topic of fans. You know, our fans, and again, when I say our fans, I mean of every club.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I think we don't. If anything, I think it's the YouTubers that make us look worse. I mean, look at Arsenal Fan TV. You know, Arsenal, I think, have been widely hated more because of that channel. Yeah, I mean, it's not, but right, that's
fair point. Fair point.
Okay.
Fair point.
So I think as YouTubers, we've got a responsibility, and I really, and again, I'm probably going to get in trouble for this. I don't like the fact that we even speak about fans. I think it's wrong because I think a lot of it is generalized, which again is really wrong. Every fan has a right to their own fucking opinion. Okay, but this is the crazy thing. You know, are we divided? Fuck off. Listen, every club has the delusional fans. No, fine. Every club has a delusional fans, right? Every club's got them fans that are doom and gloom. Oh my God, we lost one game. It's all jump off a bridge. No, every club has got the uber passionate fans. I was going to say ultras, yeah. No, I really disagree with the whole divided notion because every single club on the planet has the same issue. I don't know why I feel like we're targeted, but the crazy thing is, I feel like we're targeted from our own fucking YouTubers, which it just doesn't make any sense to me. Every fan is entitled to their own goddamn opinion, and I think it's wrong that you know these YouTube channels judge fans. I mean, you know, if you've got a neutral head on, you can understand a lot of things. You know, for instance, let's just go with Spurs recently. The two friendlies that we had, boys. Let's be honest. So there was a small minority. You know, Frank out. This is a small minority, but when you talk about it, it looks worse than what it is. Because again, every club has these sorts of fans that are fucking batshit crazy, but they have a right to be. Let them be so. All I want to get across is this: we are, and David really, really hit the nail on the head. Absolutely to you, mate. I think in terms of fans, you know, and again, I think we are brilliant. We for the most part, a lot of us question things. You know, a lot of us have of a lot of valid opinions. But in terms of being divided, I struggle to understand that concept as a whole. Because every Spurs fan on this planet wants us to do well. The only difference is we deal with things slightly different. You know, and again, people like us, I would say for the most part, us four sitting here right now are fairly level-headed. None of you, to my knowledge, are narrow-minded or short-sighted when it comes to Spurs, which is why you're all doing this. But not every fan is going to be like that. And like I said, look at Manchester United. Look at fucking delusional Chelsea fans. I had a tattoo done today, right? I'm still in pain. I love the guy, but he's a delusional fucking Chelsea fan. The things he was coming out of, I wanted to shoot myself whilst he was doing it. And the worst thing is, I couldn't even say anything to him because he was doing my fucking tattoo. And every time I said something negative about Chelsea, it hurt. It's a lot of pain. Still a lot of pain. Little bit. Okay. And I didn't enjoy it. But my point is, Who are we to judge? Every club has the same sort of divide that we do. The only reason why we don't see it is because we do not follow these clubs the way we follow Tottenham. So we will only see what we want to see.
Right. Let me counter that, yeah? I'll take in a lot of what you said and what Dave said. And like I say, I think I put it across the wrong way, so I had to be more specific. But for you to sit there and say we are not divided, the evidence is very much out there. And one thing you do actually notice on that is actually being on YouTube. Because obviously you speak to other YouTubers and whatever else, but you do see a hell of a lot of people on the chat. I will still say we are probably the most divided ones out there. In the other aspect as well, I think Scott M put it brilliant earlier. It weren't YouTubers sitting there glory, Ange, when we was losing 5-1 to fucking Liverpool. It weren't, one or two YouTubers as such weren't sitting there saying like, glory, we'd rather lose 6-2, 6-3 than win 1-0, yeah? Okay, you had the odd ones out there. There's always going to be a couple. I mean, they say there's one born every minute, and I think sometimes that's an understatement on this planet. But that's a different opinion, like a different kettle of fish. Now, on opinions, I'm the first one to say everyone is entitled to their opinion. That's one thing I really try and stick by on this channel. Everyone is entitled to their opinion, yeah? So if I disagree with your opinion, I at least try and get a person's opinion. Why is that your opinion? I ain't got to agree with it, you know? I think definitely one thing I see as a mistake off a few people. I mean, and judging isn't right on an opinion. I agree with that, yeah? I mean, okay, some opinions are a bit fucked up, but still, an opinion is an opinion.
Absolutely.
You told me off the other day, didn't you, Dan, about that when I called someone a moron for having an opinion? Yeah.
And I feel some people try and argue facts with opinions. And when it comes to facts, you can't argue a fact with an opinion, really, because a fact is a fact. And that is one thing we do seem to do a lot with. And everyone's opinionated, entitled to their opinions and whatever and that. And I'll totally take in what you and Dave said. I just put it across the wrong way, being the worst fan base. Yes, at a couple of things, I still think we are the worst fan base. In other things, no, you and Dave are right, maybe not. But in other aspects, the one I will not back down from, and I can't say fact on it, but I'll come bloody close to it. We are the most divided out there. But I don't think it's fair that anyone gets judged and slated purely because they have a different opinion. I don't dig that shit. I don't agree with that, yeah? At the end of the day, I'll argue and debate you all day long. But do you know what? If we can't come to a agreement, do you know what? We've spoken to a brick wall. Each has just put our hands up and get on with the next subject sort of thing, yeah? I think some people get very troubled trying to do that, yeah? But I will still say we are the most divided out there in so many ways, because it's not just split down the middle, Levy in, Levy out. It's Levy in with 1, 2, 3 things added to it, or Levy out with 1, 2 things added to it, or Ange in with another. We are very, very divided as a fan base. And that one, no, I can't say a fact.
Dan, can I jump in real quick? I've got one example I just want to throw out there, and I should have done this earlier. Arsenal fans, okay? Mikel Arteta. Now, you talk about the crazy Spurs fans. Oh, get him out after a couple of games or whatnot. The amount of Arsenal fans I see recently and during last season, get Arteta out, he's no good. You know, to me, that is batshit crazy. I'll tell you why. And again, this kind of goes in with what Dave was saying. We see things as Spurs fans. We see things as a whole. Mikel Arteta has turned Arsenal from a laughing stock, which they were, and people seem to fucking forget this fact, into a title. What? Have you checked it? No, I haven't. It's a lot of pain. Anyway, I've turned Arsenal from a laughing stock, because they were dog shit for a good 6-7 years, into a title challenging team. And they have fans that want that man out. He doesn't know what, and I read it all the time. He doesn't know what he's doing. He doesn't have an answer for this. He doesn't have an answer for that. Why didn't he play this player now? You know, you can say what you want about Spurs fans, mate, but honestly, there is a whole other side to it. I'm telling you now. So
yeah, but Ben, isn't that just where they've got to a point that they actually fucking want to win something?
It's not. But
okay,
let me just
far, and they can't go across the line. Go on, bro.
Let me just piggyback on that. What you've got to remember this as well, when it comes to that lot down the road, Ben, is that is a club that demands success. They demand it, absolutely demand it. They have, obviously, it tailed off with Wenger, but with the Wenger it was title challenge at least every season. Arsenal with the FA Cups, it was that. Don't get me wrong. As a Spurs fan right now, would Spurs fans give their right arm to be
in that position,
to be in Arsenal,
like we were with Poch, basically?
With Poch.
Yeah.
Every single Spurs fan would give their right arm now. We're like, what the hell are you talking about? You're getting second. But every time they've got second this year, you see that Arteta has fouled, and a lot of it has been recently because of a striker or whatever it may. They've got the striker now.
I agree.
But with Arsenal and Arsene Wenger, when they were challenging for the titles with Man U, when it was their Man U, mate, and Chelsea creeping in, they were in it every single time. The football was magnificent. You got to remember, they were in the Europa League when we were in the Champions League. Couldn't get anywhere near what we've just done.
In your opinion, for 2 seasons, they were the best footballing team in the country. Let's be honest.
Yeah, mate. Listen, Arsene Wenger. Listen, I still say, and I will say this to this day. The best player that ever played in the Premier League by a country mile to me is Thierry Henry. By a country mile.
Patrick Vieira,
and before people say Ronaldo hit the real big heights at Madrid. Not in the Premier League. Arsenal.
What about Paweł Sarr?
But this is the thing. You look at it, Liverpool, these big clubs, they demand success. Second is losing. For us, second is triumph. Second is a massive triumph for Tottenham Hotspur. Arsenal Football Club have been, as much as I hate to say it, you look at their history domestically, they are night and day above us. And I hate saying that. Look at Chelsea. Look at Chelsea. If you don't win the league under Romero Abramovich, goodbye. I'm going to give you every single penny you want. But if you fuck up and don't bring me the league, goodbye. Their standards are that high. We've gone to where fourth is. Brilliant. Well done. Yes, we're back in the Champions League. And I get that. It's where the money is. And in our Premier League history, that has been the go-to. Obviously, we had the 2 seasons under Poch. But where the difference is, and I will say firsthand, and there's people here, and I'm going to say Scott M and Philly, 2109, who have known me the longest and since day one. And if I've missed anyone, they will know and they will tell you firsthand the shit I have gone through personally coming on YouTube and standing up for what I believe in with this board. When I came onto YouTube with the likes of Stell, no one was talking Levy out.
I watched you from the beginning. I've seen it myself.
I came in, and because I went this way, and so did Stell and others, but I'll say me and Stell first, it now became a huge conversation because we were prepared to come on here, speak what we see, and stand by it constantly. You may see us wavering on, has this player turned the corner? Is this player good? Has this manager got the minerals? Whatever. But you will never, ever see me and Stell waver. I will give Levy credit when I have felt he has deserved it, and Dan will testify to that. But
same as I do.
I have never wavered once. And there are a lot of people that can come on, and a lot of people will go with the easy road because they probably don't want confrontation, or they don't like arguments, or they just want to be able to speak about the here and now and the hot topic and that's the thing. This is the different thing. When people have come on like myself, listen, I've done some stupid things I'm not proud of during my YouTube time or whatever, but I take it. I'll come on camera. I'll say my truth. I'll admit where I'm wrong. But you've got a lot of people that will just debate or argue for the sake of arguing or change their view. But like I said, you're going back to the other fans. Arsenal are going Arteta out because finishing second and not fixing the problem, then finishing second and not fixing the problem. And you got to remember, with Arsene Wenger, they were always challenging right to the end, right to the very, very end. Yep. They took Man City very close season before last. But apart from that, and this isn't good enough for them, not winning a cup, seeing us win a European Cup, and now all that stuff where they say how the fact that they're now the longest London club out of the big ones that haven't won a trophy for so long. This is Arsenal Football Club. They win. So Arsenal fans do get irate because to them, second and not winning an FA Cup or not getting to the Champions League final, that's massive problems for them. But that's, like I said, we, Arsenal and others, demand and crave success. We just crave it.
I'm with you. No, you make a fantastic point, and I'm fully on board with that. But all I would say with Arsenal, right, is that 7 or 8 year stint where they were terrible, it felt like that had slipped away a little bit. Is all I'm saying.
They still won back FA Cups.
No, yeah, this is very true. You are absolutely right. Demand success, but I just felt in that time period where they had probably one of their lowest of lows. Just felt that it slipped away a little bit. So I do question.
And still one more than we had in nearly 20 years.
I know, and you're right, 100%. But I still struggle to not question some of these Arsenal fans, because again, go on.
I do feel people do like to label people too easy. Yeah, I do agree with that. And another thing I'll say about Spurs fans again, I think we are too nice at Spurs. I think we are, like, as a fan base. Personal opinion, this one, but I'm sure a lot of people will back me up on this as well. I think we're too nice, lack of ambition there, too fucking sentimental with a lot of things. And it's like something Destiny 5 said earlier. And I get where he's coming from. I can't remember exactly what you said, but my memory's a bit shit like that. Something like you just can't handle the negative all the time, yeah? I can get that. I get that, yeah? I mean, some things I'll never understand it, but I do get it. But I think what a lot of people need to realise is that we do know when there is more than one split, people like to label other people as an object because it's easier to rip into someone when you label them an object, yeah? That's what a psychiatrist tells you anyway. And with that, for me, if there's all this toxic negative, then there's toxic positive. There's got to be. There can't just be one side. If there's up, there's down.
No light without darkness.
If there's if there's love, there's hate. Whatever way you want to do it. If there's life, there's death. Keep me going. Yeah. If there's toxic negative out there, then there is toxic positive out there. And I do feel that there's a lot of people out there who just, like, as a fan base, not just our one, but we are Spurs. So talking about Spurs, and I'm generalising it a bit at the moment, but I do personally, in my opinion, feel that there is a lot of people out there who just like to play ignorance is bliss. Now, if we want to be totally honest, if you want to look at life even, yeah, there's a lot more negative in life than there is positive. But the positive is that good that when it happens, it just totally outshines the negative sides, yeah? And that's just the same as football, in my opinion. There's usually a lot more negative than there is fucking positive in it, especially with Spurs. Yeah, but I just think some people need to also understand if toxic negative is such a problem, well, how do you sort out your problems in football or in life? For me, you focus on that negative side. Because if you don't focus on that negative side and just put it under the pillar, it ain't ever going to get fucking better. So I just feel some people just can't handle the home truths sometimes, and some people just don't want to hear it. Now, I get it. If you don't want to hear it, then don't watch people's shows who speak more negative than positive, yeah? And other people, they will speak a lot more positive because maybe they do see it positive, or maybe they just don't want to look on the dark side of life. There is two sides to it. And sometimes I know people who are just, sometimes you feel like slapping them, like, well, you wake up, mate. It ain't all the lights and fairies and everything. I mean, fuck, if you want to be a unicorn, whatever turns you on. But it's a strange world we live in. And with that, I just do feel that toxic positive is just as bad as toxic positive negative, if not worse, because opinionated, by the way. Because when you look on the negative side, you're looking at the problems. You're looking at what you need to fix. Right, he is not good enough anymore. Son, example. He's got to go. But then for me, you've got the toxic positive fans, not that I even like using the phrase toxic, but seeing as there's toxic negative, there's toxic positive, who will then be too nice, who will then be sentimental, but look what he's done for us for 9 years. And I don't want to make this about Son, it's just an example. And look at this and look at that. And then you want to just like, yeah, but now look at reality. The fact is, not good enough anymore. We need someone to take that position. But then that's considered negative, when there's all you're looking at as a problem that needs to be fixed. But I do feel there needs to be a bit of balance in the middle. You can be too negative or too positive. I just feel you need to try and see things from both angles. I mean, how do you three see that, Dave?
Well, I just want to say with this, and Rude Boy Sound per question in just a couple of about 3 comments up from where you are, or 4 or 5 down. It said, Brian, do you think your Levy outstand helped inflame the fans? Now, it depends which way you want to look at it. It depends if the way you look at it, because obviously, like I said, before the likes of Stell and I came on, it was never mentioned on YouTube. Very, very rarely. Very, very. And obviously, YouTube was just getting on, and maybe channels do want to go that route. Then Stel and I started expanding, going on other channels. I've been on TalkSport, Sky Sports, BBC. Obviously, everything I did at the training ground, the protests. So, did it become more spoken about? Is it a coincidence since me and Stel started coming on? Not saying that, oh my God, it's because me and Stel we are. That's not what I'm saying. But I think that's open to subjective what people think, because it was not spoken about. He was not questioned. It was not put into scrutiny. And then when stuff like the Super League happened, people were like, oh, look. And then everything started building. So this is the difference. For a lot of people that would say, who didn't want to hear Levy out stuff, they'd look at me and go, oh my God, look what he's done. He's so negative. Look what he's done to this fan base. But there's other people that would have said, and Danny Kiriaku's here, have said, you know what? These people came on and now they're speaking my language. Now it's getting out there. Now it's being discussed. So it depends which way you look at it. And that's what happens with these channels and people that go on to TalkSport and whatever. People have an opinion. Whether people like to hear it or not, because they don't agree with it, is another thing. But Dan, as you know, last summer, and Scott M again will vouch for this, I went on Chris Cowlins for the first time. And I said to Chris, I told a few people, because people were like, oh my God, Brian, have you sold it? And I get on with Chris. People may not like him or don't like his stance on things. I get on with him very well as a person. And people are like, oh my God, Brian, sold
a bad
out.
person, Brian. Sorry to interrupt.
No, completely.
Doesn't mean someone's a bad person because they have opinions or see it. And some people do label them as a bad person for it. Sorry.
Correct. And I said to people, do you know what? I said to Scott M and very few people, I think Dan, you one of them, I said, I'm changing my game this summer. I'm not going to be shouty, ranty, raving, going nuts, because I've been doing that. I've been doing that and preaching to the choir of all Levy out people, and they don't come. It's all mouth or they live, whatever it may be, or people that said they were going to come because they lived there or could get there and they didn't. So I said, you know what, let me get on Chris Cowlin and speak. And now when I speak about it, and I go on Last Word on Spurs as well now, and Change for Spurs have come along, more people are listening. It's about the hardcore people that leave you out are there. I don't need to speak anymore, leave you out to. I can sit with you, Dad. I can sit with Stel. I can sit with Danny Kiriaku. I can sit with hundreds of Levy outs and go, yeah, Levy's a whatever I want to call him. He's done this wrong. He's done this wrong. He's done this wrong. Jordan, I have been on TalkSport when we did the not called in, but when I did the protest with the guys after the 6-1 Newcastle, 2-2 Manchester City, Manchester United, TalkSport came there. I haven't called in, but I was interviewed by TalkSport there. But that's it. You literally, it's got to the point now, and I'm just using Levy out because it's obviously my special. It could be the manager, it could be a player, it could be price of tickets. People have used these platforms that have come out to express their opinion. Now, you got two things you do. You can express your opinion on screen and do nothing about it and just speak, or you can do both. I do both when it comes to Levy. I came home a week early in April so I could make that change for Spurs protest and be a part of it, because obviously it's something I'm very, very passionate about. And that's it. That's what it comes to. That's what these platforms are about. When people have a go at you for speaking, it's like, well, we've all done it. You've seen Sava do it still. Everyone. Well, there's a link. Come on and join. Come on and join and speak, rather than writing in the comments or whatever. They don't. And big up to Matt if he's still here. He's been on Savas a couple of times. The link has been chucked out. Matt, no, honestly, so many people have come on before thinking they're going to get their head chewed off, but then they come and talk, and it's fine. But there are a lot of people that will throw a lot of shade and a lot of heat at people. But when it's like, well, come on and speak. The amount of people that put in comments, oh my God, why is Daigle on We Are Tottenham TV again? There's the link. Go on, speak. Say something different to what I'm saying. But no. And that's the thing when it comes to YouTube and social media. It is what you make of it.
Yeah, I don't want to sound patronising to you, Brian, but I think you going on and changing.
Well, don't.
Yeah. But you changing your approach to that, I'm very much in your camp on that, in the sense that I was around when you did start going on those, and I saw a lot of heat on the WhatsApp shows and think that the WhatsApp chat, sorry, behind the scenes, not necessarily up in front of the camera, and that you did get a lot of hate for that. And I was like, no, if that's how he feels, he's going on a platform that is on a different opinion. It's the best way to sit there and spread your side of the argument. You're exactly right. And again, this is the bit I didn't want to patronise you about. Exactly right. You're talking in an echo chamber if you're sitting there talking to the people that agree with you already, right?
We agreed on this, Brian, didn't we? When you spoke to me on the phone,
completely. You're the first I spoke to.
Yeah,
and it's the grown-up approach to do it as well, by the way. And that's the bit I say. I don't want to patronise you, but it's the very grown-up approach to take on it, and it kind of ties into what I was going to reply to Dan before you just said your bit there, was that football fans are a bit of a microcosm of life in general. You know, you was talking, Dan, about the toxic positivity against the toxic negativity, and that's the very same thing in life in general. We have been machined now as a society and a population to believe you have to be on one side or the other. I was on a political debate show the other night, by the way. Yeah, and that was, I'll talk to you about that off air. But
yeah,
I was making a similar point on there, that these days, if you listen to the media and if you listen to what you're being told, you're either left or you're right. And I make the argument the vast majority of the population are down the centre somewhere. They might lean slightly left on certain things, might lean slightly right on other things. But most people are probably down the centre in the politics state, and they will define their politics based on their personal life situation, right? So if you've been affected by one thing, you're probably going to lean to the other side on that. And I think with football fans, we've been forced to say that you can't disagree with someone, because that means then you're totally on the other side. Oh, so you sit there and back Levy up on this, that means you're Levy in. Well, no, I can sit there and be Levi out, but also applaud the man for doing something right in a different era.
That's what I try and do.
Exactly, 100%. And this, again, I am bringing it back to the sort of Tottenham fans specifically, but I think football fans are a microcosm of life in society in general, and that you have to be labelled one side or the other. And life's too complicated. You can't just be one side or the other. You know, there's multiple different things you've got to take into account when it comes to life. And I think it's very similar with football. You can't just sit there and go, that's one view and I'm sticking to it. I can't be adapting to that. Well, no, I was Ange out, but I also was very applauding of the way he got us through the last couple of rounds of the Europa League to get us over the line and win a trophy. You know, I can sit there and say, well done, Ange, you've done well there. But overall, I think it's time you go, because I think over your 2 years, you haven't performed to the level I expect of my football manager. But on the same token, there were definite positives apart from what you've done. These days, you have to be one or the other. And that's the same in life. And I think what we're touching on, it's a great conversation, by the way. I wouldn't even call it a debate. It's a great conversation.
No, it's just a chat, and it's got opinions.
Exactly. And again, with the comments on the side, keep them coming, because I think they're brilliant as well. I think it's healthy to have different opinions, because if someone has a different opinion, you know what you can do? You can learn. You might, at the end of it, still think your way, the same way you did at the start of that conversation or debate. You can still think your way at the end of it. But when you go through that journey and you listen and you open your ears and you listen to someone else say something else, you might just take a little crumb of extra information that you didn't have before, or a little bit of knowledge that you didn't have before. And I think, again, going back to supporting Spurs fans, I think a lot of us are quite decent when it comes to that. I don't think we're as toxic. Again, Dan touched on that word. I don't think we are that toxic. I think we've got a lot of different opinions, and some of the opinions, again, Dan, you can say they are wrong opinions, but you're allowed that opinion. And I think, going back, I think we're a great fan base on that, in the sense that the majority of us will sit there and talk and debate and have reasonable conversations with someone, particularly on these shows that we do, not just this one, but the other shows as well. Big up, you know, the likes of Sabbath Stills and things like that. I think there's great debate to be had, and you can learn something from that, not just in the football sense, but also in life. And I think it's absolutely imperative that we as a society and a population, that we sit there and listen. If you disagree with it at the end of it, that's absolutely fine too. But at least listen, hear their opinion, try and understand it, and ask questions. And I think that's where our fan base is pretty decent. We're not delusional. Oh, I believe that, and that's all I'm going to believe. Even Brian, I've heard him. He's the biggest sort of Daniel Levy man out person there is. But he also has sat there,
if not the.
I've also heard words come out of his mouth where he's credited Levy. He's done this well. That's where we want to be as a society and as a football fan base, is to sit there and go, I disagree with you, but also that's a great point. Brilliant. I've learned something. And take it on board. And that's why I will go back to your original question. Are we the worst fan base? No, I don't think we are, because of the reason I just said there. I think we're a great fan base. We listen to each other. We may disagree, but at least we listen.
Yeah, right. I think fair play. Well said.
Well said, mate. Yeah.
I think
that's Luke's rival, not your speech.
Kick Luke off already. I don't like him.
I think I put it down too deep, and that is one problem I do have. I don't describe things good enough at times. My main argument is I still think we are the worst fan base out there for a couple of things, not as in a whole. So I did put it across the wrong way. I'll step back on that and put my hands up to that. But I'm still sticking to it that we're the most divided, too fucking nice, and at times shows we got lack of ambition. I think the other problem is what you said, Dave, yeah? And like I say, don't want to turn this into a life thing, but it is also part of football in that aspect, is if you keep getting labelled something, you know what? You keep labelling someone as something, sooner or later, if you don't watch it, they become that person. Woman gets a husband, keeps telling him every 5 minutes where she don't trust him, you've been behind my back, you've been behind my back. He puts up with that for a couple of years, and then he goes down the pub. Do you know what? I'm just going to take that slut back to her place and get on with it, basically, and then go on to the wife and keep his head down. You keep pushing someone into that corner, they do end up becoming that sort of person. And that's how I see it anyway. You keep putting someone as toxic positive, toxic negative, which you hear more about toxic negative than you do positive. In the end, people do end up just having a fuck it attitude and just putting it even more blunt to an extent to piss the other side off, because you're just getting labelled like that, is where I go to with that one, basically. But again, that's just opinion. Luke, how you doing?
Hello, mate.
I'm not too bad, mate. There's far too much positive going on in here about we all should be friends and we all should get along. We support the same team. Nah, sod that. We're all divided. Let's have a row. Why not?
No, there's more fun in that. You don't want to join in the group or something?
We are treading new territory. Leave it alone, all right?
Mate, we've got signings on board. Look at this. If you can't smile now, when can you smile, mate? Just beat them lot down the road.
No, that is true. And yeah, I think it's like Dave said, like a lot of people down the middle are sort of with it, with a little bit on that side, little bit on that side. But I can mainly speak for the Spurs ones here because it's what I've been of. But the second you do disagree with certain things with certain people, fuck me, do you get slammed into that other corner? Like, even if it ain't your full beliefs. I mean, so Luke, I'll ask you, what is your opinion on toxic negative, toxic positive? If there's one, there's got to be the other, surely.
Oh yeah, 100%. Of course there is, and there's the realistic that's bang in the middle of both of them, and that's where you have to kind of get to, because we can all sit there and say like, oh, Spurs are going to win every single game and everything else, but like, and that is the bottom line, is that you create a false narrative, you create all of these sort of situations where everything becomes like. Too much of anything is bad, isn't it? Let's be honest about it. There's nothing that you can't have where but it's such a hard one with Spurs. It is such a hard one because we're so used to things falling apart. So I don't know whether everyone's the same, but I've always got two attitudes with Spurs. I've always got the dreamer, and then I've got the realist, and it brings me back down. That is how it is. So there's like so many occasions where, like Palhinha, for instance, we go and sign him and we get kudos, and I'm going, do you know what? With a couple more, we could be a proper team here. And then the other part of me goes, it's Spurs. It doesn't work like that. So we have to try and be in the middle as much as possible. But we do it with players. We don't have a common ground on players. We either think they're way better than they are, or we think they're completely shit when they're actually better than they are. There's no middle ground. I think we all struggle with that, to be honest with you. But yes, positive, the fake positivity and the fake negativity. There has to be some sort of balance. If you look for the negative in anything, you'll always find negatives. And if you look for the positive in everything, but you have to have a kind of balance between them, 100%.
I mean, one second, I'll come straight to you. I just want to say, I'm one of the people who, and I know there's people who do things different ways, whatever, each their own. Like my saying on it, whatever turns you on at the end of the day. Some like blonde hair, some like brown hair. Again, whatever turns you on. But I refuse to sit here and just say what people want to hear. If what I'm going to sit here is going to offend someone, I'll just put it blunt. I honestly don't care, because it's their choice to be offended. Is the way I see it. I know other people see it different. If I'm going to say stuff that people don't want to hear, I honestly don't care, because I cannot sit there and just agree for the sake of agreeing. I cannot sit there and just say what people want to hear. And if that makes my channel smaller, do you know what? I don't care in that aspect, because I don't do this for the money side of YouTube or the likes, this and that. I do this because I just like debating football. I like a serious chat, and then I won't deny it. I do love shit stirring up a good argument as well, because they're fun to have as well. All a bit in the middle. I won't deny that. I mean, I've been called a fucking instigator all my life, so maybe I just am what I am.
You've been called far worse than that, Dan. But we'll go with it.
I know that. Dave could vouch for that. He's known me about 30 years, so he could definitely. I mean, cold-hearted was an understatement, but I just refuse to say what people want to hear for the sake of it, just to get a bloody like or two. Yeah, and I feel that there's other people that do it. Call that a personal opinion. I won't say fact, but I just can't sit there and just say what people want to hear. I will give my opinion, and like I said, if it offends or people don't like it, I honestly don't care. And some will say that's a bit of a wrong attitude to have. Well, why is it a wrong attitude? What? Just because I say something that you don't like or offends you? That's your choice. Again, all opinions at the end of the day. Go on, Ben, with what you wanted to say, mate. Sorry to interrupt you.
I was going to shadow what Dave said, to be honest. I think balance is key, really, isn't it? But the only thing I'd like to throw out here, and it's such a wonderful saying, ignorance is bliss. If I had to choose what side of a fan I'd like to be, it would be the ignorance is bliss fan. Because how much fucking happier would we all be? Yeah. I mean, in life as well, Jesus Christ.
But you'd be living in lies, wouldn't you?
No, well, would you if you don't know any better, mate? Would you? You'd be nice and happy, and you'd be floating.
You don't want to know any better, is the way I see that. Ignorance is bliss is just when you totally put that side out for the sake of putting it out.
Yeah. No, I see it differently. I see ignorance in the way of you don't know any better. So I don't necessarily put it down that pathway, but you know, I get it. But no, and also I did want to throw out, so the way Spurs fans feel about our players, right? And I don't want to turn this into a Levy thing, and I'm not going to. But I do feel like, and it's a point that doesn't know, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. I do want to say, the way we feel about our players in particular, the way Spurs fans are about their players, is quite unique. But I would put that solely down to the top of the club, because I feel that leaks down bit by bit. I feel like, I'm not going to say his name in case he turns up. I feel like he is responsible for the way a lot of fans feel about players. So, for instance, you know, we all say, oh, you know, we've got to give this player more time. There's something there. We can get something out of him. Do you know why we're like that as a fan base? Because we don't buy the quality we feel like this club deserves. So we are stuck with a certain level of player. And we have no other choice but to debate and debate and debate over, could that player be something? Have we got something there? Is he any good? We don't have much of a choice as a fan base but to debate that sort of stuff, because we don't have these Liverpool signings, these Arsenal signings, these Man United signings. We don't have these sorts of players coming in. We're vastly stuck with the shite that we've got. Well, not necessarily shite, but the players that we've got. So I just feel like a lot of fans don't have much of a choice but to kind of go on about, you know, and be a little bit more, what's the word you used earlier, Dan? Like a bit too, I don't know, fairified about players, you know.
Yeah.
Where you give them too much leeway.
We do have that habit of like, the one I don't want to go into the debate with, but here we go. Like when people did it with Archie Gray, when people did it with like Bergvall, all of a sudden saying he's going to be fucking world class and that, like, hang on a minute, slow the fuck down. give him a chance to produce as such
Yep.
and get better. But I'm not going to sit here and start saying he was quality when in that final third he weren't delivering. And I do think some people just say, why can't you just say the player was good? Well, because he wasn't 100% good. He done this right, that right, and he fucked up this and this. Now, anyone who's read Alex Ferguson's autobiographies, and I've read both of them, and they are really good, And one thing the players hated him for was they would win a game 5-1. Yep, read it. They would win a game.
Well, that wasn't a full stage, was it? You just happened to have an Alex Ferguson book by your computer.
I'll wait for Dan to say something. It should pop up.
And they would lose. They would win a game 5-1.
It's got the Mary Poppins bag down there.
And the first thing that Ferguson would switch on them for is not well done on winning the game 5-1. He would absolutely go to town on them for 30 to 45 minutes for that goal they conceded.
The hairdryer treatment.
And then he'd say, anyway, well done for the other 5 and fuck off. Because he conceded a goal, he'd have the ump. And for me, that's the right attitude to have. Again, people would say that's focusing on the negative side. But again, why did we concede that goal? You should have been there. You should have been there. You should have been there. That's how you improve. Now, okay, as Spurs fans, when it comes to it, like, well, we've won a game 5-1. What are you complaining about? Why do you have to bring out a negative side? And I get how some people see that. I get it. I even understand how some people see that. But again, I will pick out the bad points of a game as well, because that's where you got to improve. Even if you did win the game, I bet you when Liverpool done a 6-3 or whatever, I very much doubt the manager just went in there and said, fair play, well done, and didn't pick off no one for conceding those 3. I wasn't there. That's an opinion. But again, you got to pick out the bad points to improve.
But I mean, people are different now. Players are different. You can't really do that anymore. Like, I don't think, this is why I don't think Roy Keane did too well in management. I don't think you can do that anymore. I don't think you can berate these players because they're fucking fairies. Let's be honest. Do what?
Too sensitive.
Yeah. Sorry, I thought you cut out for me then. I don't think you can treat players like this anymore because they get a little bit butthurt about it. And it's you know what I mean? You can't really be like that anymore. So,
just to digress a little bit here, Ben. Sorry, when you mentioned Roy Keane management, obviously he done well at Sunderland, to be fair to him. But
get his book out. Get his book out. I'm actually
Roy Keane's as well. Roy Keane's book is fucking excellent.
There's a great story about him being manager at Sunderland that you would never believe. Roy Keane.
Go on.
So Chris Brown, the former striker, he does the Under the Cosh podcast. Brilliant podcast, by the way. Absolutely love it. Sign up. You can see them on YouTube. They still do like the free ones, but they do pay for ones as well. But anyway, he was telling a story that Roy Keane, and someone asked him like, so what was Roy Keane like as manager? And he was like, you'll never guess what. He took us on a pre-season trip abroad, like Spain or somewhere, and he took all the players to a water park. And what he wanted the players to do, and this is Roy Keane, he wanted the players, like the rides were shutting. It was the end of the day. The rides were shutting. What he wanted the players to do was run up this flume like slide thing that, you know, where you have like 12 tracks in one, like a little racy slide.
Wow.
Yeah. He wanted all the players to get up because it was shut, basically. He wanted to all run past security, get up there and go down this water slide together. And all the players are thinking, like, this is Roy Keane. Apparently he loves water parks. So he's got up there. None of the players went. Him and his assistant managers ran to the very top, like little naughty school kids, gone down all the slide, getting chased by security. And you think, Roy Keane as a manager done that? And you think, no, that's not the Roy Keane I think of. But genuine, true story. Watch it on the podcast that players in it. Apparently, Roy Keane is absolutely fanatical about water parks.
Are you winding me up? Are you being fucking serious?
No. I say it's 100% true story. It's come from a couple of the players that played under him at Sunderland. Who was the other one? John Welsh was the other one as well. That mentioned this story. Apparently, he loves water parks. If you ever see Roy Keane angry in the street, just say, go down a swimming pool and jump down a flume, Roy. You know, you'll get yourself right up.
I mean, I do agree with
different management styles, right?
I do agree with what Ben said. I mean, I'll go with you, Brian, on this. I do agree with what Ben said. I mean, again, I just think it's not just people, all this Gen Z bullshit and everything else and all that. I mean, but again, that's a different story. I do think players are too fucking soft these days.
Yeah.
Not just play. I mean, some of them, they don't seem like they're mentally up for it. It's like they're still used to waking up indoors and their mum making toast for them or whatever. Yeah. I do agree that players these days are very fucking sensitive. Whereas it used to be, you get slapped around the face, pull your finger out your ass, and get the fucking job done. These days, like they sit you down and get a solicitor next to you or whatever, and that way you sit there and talk to them or whatever, so they don't sue you on something or whatever. And that I do think it is way too sensitive these days with players.
Go on, Dave. Go on.
No. That's one comment. It's the same as life, isn't it? You know, we've all got a little bit that way. Everything's easier. Technology, things like that make our life easy. You get in a car these days and the technology in the car does half the driving for you. It takes away most of the human being sitting there taking responsibility for his actions. And football is even worse. Yeah. Sorry, Brian, that's all I was adding.
No, all I was going to go back to, I'm going to bring Arsenal up again, which I fucking hate doing. I hate doing it. But like what we're saying with these players that we've become, like Ben said, these players are here now that we just aren't good enough and they just stay whatever. You look at it, and I use this one a lot. Mikel Arteta came into Arsenal, first managerial job, very, very first managerial job. Straight away turns around and says, I want Ozil and Aubameyang out the club. They're bad eggs. There you go. They're the bad. I want them out. They're on 350 grand a week. These star cachet players for that team. Mikel Arteta had no managerial experience. Assistant manager, yeah. Arsenal turn around and go, you do realise what you're saying, don't you? Out you go. Out they went. On your head be it. Out you go. Could you imagine at any time if any manager had said, you know what, Daniel, Son and Kane are bad eggs, get them out. Get them out. Go. Get them out. I don't want them in. No. We've got a club where the players just sit around. We're talking now, we need players out, and we hear Bissouma and people saying, I want to fight for my place. Well, why didn't you fight for your place for the 3 years you've been here? And now you want to fight for your place. Is it because you're in the last year of your contract and you might not get a contract of the level you're currently on at Tottenham? Spurs need to be ruthless and say, right, listen, we want you out the door.
Yep.
You've been here. You haven't done the job. Look at Diaz, who's just left Liverpool.
We ain't ruthless, though, as Spurs fans. That's one of my points, Brian.
That's the thing. We sit there.
It's not our job to be. It's not our job to be.
But what I'm getting at again is when we're saying about these players and getting them out, like when Ben was alluding to, we have so many right now, and we're in this position because we keep going, this manager, okay, do better with these players. Maybe in this system he works. Maybe in that system he works. Maybe in this manager or that manager. When you see people like an Arsenal, and I go back to them demanding success, not craving it, they'll listen to the manager and go, out you go. We're going to facilitate getting you out the door no matter how we do it. When it came to Vieira and Henry leaving, they cashed in. Rather than going, okay. I mean, I think Henry said he wanted to go to Barca, but you look at it, it's like they sold, like Diaz. Liverpool spent a shit ton of money. Shit ton. They're like, right, we need to recoup this. Diaz, you were very, very good for us, but you know what? We're going to get more money than we could get. We could make a profit on you, and the quality is coming. Out you go. Out you go. We have let these players sit. And now, look, if someone had said to you at the beginning of the season, we're going into August now, we're 2 weeks away from the season, and in player sales, Spurs have made £1 million. That Champions League team, apart from Harry Kane, we didn't sell one player. Well, he's pure profit. Not one player went for a profit.
True.
Not one player went for a profit because we let it drain. And rather than selling and giving, and this is the problem, and hopefully that gets sorted. But that's the difference between clubs.
I think part of it is also as well, like for instance, there's a lot of players in this squad that I would lose and not think too much of. But my fear is that who we bring in for these players. So, like for instance, like Romero was the big one, and I completely understood why people said that he wasn't up to the standard because he wasn't available enough. Just use that as an example. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. So we get rid of him. I don't back Spurs to bring in someone that's good enough or as good So therefore, if we keep selling players and then replacing them with players that isn't as good, eventually we get worse anyway. So I think that's part of it. I think if we could all back our recruitment, then you might be going, do you know what? Just get Richie out the door because I back whoever's going to come in. Whereas if we got Richie out the door, I'm like, yeah, we could end up with someone worse because that's how Spurs do it. So I think the recruitment is a massive, massive part of that because I don't have much faith in the recruitment.
No, it has been a big fuck up in it. I do 100%. Agree with that, Luke.
I mean, Ryan Gill is the best example. I was sitting there on stream and it literally. So we had Lamela. We signed him for 30 odd million, which was massive money back then. We literally played and played and played. Didn't refuse to get rid of, injured, everything else. So we essentially give him away to them. Got Brian Hill and paid 25 million, and now he's played. He's gone out on loan. And we'll probably do the same deal. We've literally, we had the prime example of Lamela, and then we went and swapped him and got Gilwin and done exactly the same thing. It just makes absolutely no sense. And I'm sure everyone on this panel looked at Brian Hill for 5 minutes and went, he ain't going to play in the Premier League. Yep. What are we doing? I
think in Spanish league suits him. Some players just do not suit that league. And some say, oh, you're just saying the Premier League's the best league in the world. Overall, it is because the amount is great. Is it the most skillful? No. Is it the fastest? No. I'd say it's definitely the most brutal, and I'd definitely say it's one of the most competing. If I'm going to look at teams that are actually closer to each other, you could look at Serie A for that, and it's the most defensive as well. But I think what the Premier League has is everything. When something happens in the Premier League, take, for instance, you go see Man City get done by Leicester. You sit there and you raise an eyebrow to it, oh, fuck, fair play. And that's that. You go to the Bundesliga, for example, and you see Bayern Munich got beaten by one of their lowest teams, whatever. I can't even remember some of their teams.
Ingolstadt.
Everyone starts screaming, oh my God, they can't believe what they've just seen because the gap is just that big. But in the Premier League, okay, it's a big gap from top to bottom. But is anyone absolutely shocked when they see a bottom club beat a top club? Yeah, you raise an eyebrow to it, wow, yeah. But some players you can see they just ain't made for certain leagues. Brian Gill is the prime example of that. I think if he'd have stayed in Spain, he could have actually made something of his career. But that Premier League is just
brilliant
not
in Big Bang Theory, though.
No, you talk about recruitment. If you remember the story of Brian Hill, that was the season that we were going for Tomiyasu, the Arsenal right back. And the reason we couldn't sign him was due to complications because he was in the Olympics with Japan. But then we were able to sign Brian Hill. And guess where Brian Hill was? Had the Olympics in Japan. And obviously it was because there was a better deal to do. But this is what we do. This is what the recruitment has done. Listen, we were talking about this yesterday. And I can't believe I'm actually about to say what I'm about to say, but we are even worse at getting players out the door than we have been getting them in the door.
Yes.
Oh yeah. 100%.
Yes.
That's and how bad does that sound? That we, with the amount of mucking about and players we've lost or haven't been able to get over the line or push for that we think would do well at the club, we've been worse at getting them out the door.
Well, I think it's brilliant. I think it's brilliant that our recruitment strategy essentially is we only want to sign players that can come in and then we can earn a few quid in the future. And you go, how many fucking players have we actually done that with?
Exactly.
How many players have we actually brought in and gone, yeah, we sold them for a profit? Virtually. So
I'll go back to Modric and that, haven't you? Modric, Paweł. But that's going back a while.
Again, that goes, do you know what? That goes again with what Ben was saying about big club mentality and when we're talking, because big clubs will go and get the players to get them to win the league. And that's what they do it for. I think a majority of our signings, Paulinho is one that goes outside this box. We are one of the only clubs that literally buy people. And how many times do we hear the resale value?
Yeah.
We are one of the only clubs that think, right, we'll buy him and think about, whereas people will go and go, right, we need player X, Y, Z, because I think he'll get us to the next level. They don't care about the age. They want success on the pitch of the best player able that they can get to do the job. We are one of the, like I said, we are worse at getting players out the door than we are in, and we constantly think about the phrase resale value, and then we don't do it,
No, Brian, can I jump in here real quickly, right?
Which can.
And it's just an opinion. You know the way I think. Look, the way I think these bigger teams do it and the way Tottenham would do it are vastly different. Right? Let's take Liverpool for example. Liverpool are selling or trying to sell Harvey Elliott. Right now, there's a lot of teams that would snap him up in a heartbeat. He's just helped them win the league, yeah, and they've been successful. But with Harvey Elliott, they've looked at him and gone, right, okay, you're a good player, but right now to progress, you're not where we need you to be. You're out the door. That's what they've done. Whereas with Tottenham, the way we seem to do things is keep players and keep players and keep players and then let them just deteriorate as football.
But a lot of fans defend it, Ben.
No, I know they do, but I think with these bigger teams, they the saying strike while the iron's hot to bring people in. It's the same getting them back out again. If players have had certain success, like for instance, Bentancur, he's not going to get any better. You know, really and truly, he probably should have left a season ago, a couple of seasons ago, whatever. He's not going to get us any further than what he's done. You know, and after maybe winning the Europa League, you think there'd be a bit more interest in it. But the point I'm trying to make is these bigger clubs get rid of their players at the right time, whereas Tottenham don't seem to do that. Now, I don't know if that is a crazy opinion or not, but where do you boys stand on that? Do you think we just don't do it right as a club, or do you think maybe because the thing is, like, we've had a lot of decent players that come through our doors that could have gone out. You know, Lo Celso wasn't brilliant, but he could absolutely do a job. You know, especially for a club in like La Liga or Italy, for instance.
Not a Premier League player. Another one.
No. This is what I'm trying to say. So why would you not, after he had that good season and you couldn't really see him getting any better, ship him out like these other big clubs do, and then replace them with players that you feel like have a higher ceiling?
That's the problem, Ben.
Don't sign him. Don't sign him is the first thing. Don't sign him because he's not fit. But I think it's two things. I think we're terrible at squad planning.
Yes.
You've had Heung-Min Son here for 10 years.
Yeah.
Who's going to replace him? Oh, we still don't know. Oh, good, brilliant. That's brilliant. And then the second thing is we've got no idea at the top. We've got no idea what we want to do and where we want to be. Hence why we get Conte in, who plays a completely different style of football to the previous manager. And then we go and sign wing-backs, and then we sack Conte, and then we sign a manager that plays 4 at the back. And you go, well, hang on a minute. Why are we complaining that Ange is playing Porro and Udogie as fullbacks when actually they're wingbacks? Because we've signed them to play in a 5 system. It doesn't make any sense. And this is what I kept saying. We need to have an identity, a way of looking at things to go, right, this is the way we're going to play. And then you buy the players that suit that. You bring in managers that suit that. You bring in, it's all supposed to align and not change. Look at Liverpool, for instance. Did not sign a player because what they went is, right, this is what we've got. We'll play with this. We'll bring in a manager that plays a similar system. So the players are playing a similar system. Not us. We wouldn't have done that. We would have gone and got a manager that plays, I don't know, 7 at the back and 1 up front. And then we'd have gone, just work with the same team, crack on, don't worry about it. And then every year we sit there and go, well, that player isn't good enough. And it's like, yeah, because you've gone from one system where he would have been perfect to another system where he's completely ineffective. Like, it doesn't make any sense. And that's the problem with our squad. We've got 87 left wingers, and we've just gone and signed our second right winger.
Do you know what as well? Do you know what as well, Ben? And this is where it's different. 2 things about it. First of all, selling the player at the top price, I don't have any confidence that we'll upgrade it.
Yeah. No,
and then the perfect example is Carl Walker. We cashed in on him. And don't get me wrong, he said he wanted to go back up north and he wanted the good old challenge for trophies. We got £50 million for him. For a right, £50 million. We had Trippier there, who I loved, but we played him through blooming agony, and he was having inject. So then, with that 50 million, we went and bought Serge Aurier, Matt Doherty, Jed Spence, which now has turned out, Emerson Royale, and then Pedro Porro. We spent £120 million trying to replace a player that we sold for 50.
I've got a better one than that, Brian.
Go on, brother.
The better one than that is we sold Bao, and then 7 years later we replaced him with Bow.
Yeah.
Like,
Unbelievable bit of business, by the way. Unbelievable.
Who come in during them 7 years where you thought, he is none of them. And then Bale come in and probably scored more goals than all of them combined because he got something like 20 odd that season or something, didn't he? So it took us 7 years to replace Bale, and we've done it with Bale on loan.
But let's wrap this up. That is exactly the reason why Daniel Levy is so hated. It's decisions like that have cost him half the fan base.
Yes. Look on it on this side as well, though. Again, the fan base is part of this because a lot of people sit there and defend the shit. They talk about how they want better. And obviously I can't vouch for everyone, but again, I can only vouch for what I see on a lot of chat and everything, is they want better. We want better players. We pay the second most ticket prices. We have one of the biggest incomes in football. We are one of 3 or 4 football teams on this planet that can actually look after themselves without having to win cups, finish high in the league, and sell players at the same time. We can look after ourselves, whether it's through football, out of football, whatever. We crave that we go and buy big players. Obviously, world class don't come into it, but big players, quality players. But then we sit here and justify a fucking Archie Gray or a Tell and then say, why has everyone got to be such a prick? He's only a young player. Give him a chance. And then we're going to have someone like Son, who's been done and dusted for a little while now, and we should have got rid of him. Just being ruthless in football, old saying, dog eat dog world. And people will say, but he can have his statue, fine. But we need to get him out to improve. And this is what I mean with our fan base again. Well, what do we actually want then? If we want to sit there and get these big players in, but then you want to sit there and justify the young players we get that ain't ready, or the player that is just average, or the player that has had 2 shit 3 seasons and then saying, but this manager he might do better on, doesn't that just make a lot of this fan base a total contradiction? What do we actually want?
Also, the recruitment, the whole idea around signing young players and to make them better, you have to surround them with good pros. You have to surround them with experienced pros who know how to play the game. So it's almost like we're sitting there going down the route, and let's be clear, everybody's going down this route. Chelsea are signing like 15-year-olds for like 4 million because the younger is the better right now. But the fact is that they then, and Chelsea actually struggled with this a little bit in terms of when Poch was there, they had no experience, like proper experience. It was all so young that they was learning on the job. And that's the problem. Like for Archie Gray, for instance, as an example, I want to spend 40 million, but I liked Archie Gray as a player. I think Archie Gray coming in is a good buyer, but he should have been accompanied with an experienced pro that he can learn from. He shouldn't be your target and the one that you get over the line and that's your midfield options. Like, well, no, hang on. Like there needs to be. Tell's another example. Tell is an option. Tell is some people like him, some people don't. But he could develop into a good player. He needs a player there that he's going to learn from. That's going to be the starter, and he's the one that, again, succession planning. One comes in, he develops a couple of years later, he might take over, you sell on the other one. So I think that's part of the problem is that we need to have a clear identity and a clear idea of what we're doing. Signing all these young players is brilliant, but they have to be experienced pros. Like if you was a midfielder now compared to last season, your midfield, you're going, well, hang on a minute, I could learn a bit from Palhinha. He's played at Bayern. I'd played here. Buy the
experience first, Luke, and then get the young players.
Oh no,
you seem to have done it the other way, innit?
However you do it is whatever. But as long as you're doing it together, like Højbjerg, for instance, I keep going back to him. I was always going, Højbjerg needs to go. We need to be upgrading that. And then when we sold him or loaned him out, we didn't bring anyone else in. And I was like, oh no, that wasn't. It wasn't get rid of Højbjerg and don't replace him. It was get rid of Højbjerg and upgrade him. And that's the problem. We don't do that. We either sell and then don't replace, or we go, well, there'll be a young player that will come in. But we do it with every young player. Last year, everyone kept telling me Jay should have been starting for us. He's gone on loan to a League One club. Like this is what we seem to do. We see a young player that comes through, and I remember being on a few streams, and I was going to like the chat. We're going, Jay should be starting. Jay should be starting. I was like, have you checked his stats this year? He's come on and scored 1 goal for Spurs. Have you checked his stats? In the second tier of the Premier League, he played 18 games and got 3 goals. Like this isn't a guy that's terrorizing teams and like ripping it all up. He's bang average in our second team, and you think he should be starting in our first team? This is what a Spurs
Luke. How happy are you? How happy are you that Mikey Moore has gone on loan, so we don't have to fucking listen to? He should be playing week in, week out. That boy's gold dust.
As long as he plays, it's an unbelievable loan in my eyes.
Correct.
Unbelievable loan. such a good loan for a the style of football they're going to play under that manager, but also Rangers. Let's say they're the second best team in the league. He's going to be coming up against every single week a packed defence who are going to sit in and make it hard. And that is the
physical
perfect
league as well. Yeah,
and that 100%. Is the perfect thing, because he'll be learning when he comes to Spurs. That's exactly what's going to happen to us. You're going to have people sitting in low blocks, and it's going to be down to him. At the moment, he's going to go there. He's going to be under a weight of expectation because he's a big signing. I've been checking out on X. A lot of their fans are excited about signing him. So he's got pressure on his shoulders.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to expect to win every single game. He's going to be expected to perform every single game. And it's a level below, but it's exactly what he's going to have when he comes to Spurs. When he starts having a few bad games.
I don't think you can pick a better loan from him. And you're exactly right there, mate, when you said if he plays. But obviously, that's part of the challenge of going on loan. He's got to earn his right to.
You can have that as part of the loan deal as well, can't you? Like you can have him on loan only if he plays.
But he's also got to earn the right. He's got to play. Because he's still very young. He's got to be like, obviously, surrounded by adults and earn his place in there. But I couldn't think of a more perfect loan for Mikey Moore at this stage of his career than going to because. Right, I know, Dan, you're different on this, but Rangers and Celtic are massive, massive clubs. And when you're up there, it's a completely different kettle of fish to anything any of us on this panel are very experienced, because it goes beyond football up there. It's obviously political, religion, and all of that.
I get
if he can if he can go up there, earn a right in the squad, which is the big key factor. That obviously we need to factor into this, but if he gets in there and plays them games of football, then that is the perfect loan for him to toughen him up, and he comes back to us as a better player. If you asked me what would be Mikey Moore's best loan move, I would have gone Rangers.
There's only one other club I wanted, which was Dortmund. When I heard Dortmund were involved, because you know what they've done with English talent.
Yeah,
that was one. But you know what I love about this Rangers move is it's a very physical league.
I was about to say it's going to be physical.
It's going to be, especially the old firm, the kind of pitches he's going to play on. It really is a good move, and you got to look at it. Spurs have got a good relationship with Rangers. Jermaine Defoe's been there, obviously not directly from Spurs. Obviously Gaza, Richard Goff. I can't believe I'm going to say this person in those three. Alan Hutton.
Mm-hmm.
But Gaza. Mate, Gaza. I want Gaza in Scotland. I mean, but it seems to be a good grounding place. He is going to learn up there. And obviously, being an Englishman, the Scots will want to go for him. The young Scots players, who he's probably absolutely destroyed. It makes so much sense.
I know what you mean about Dortmund, but I wouldn't have picked Dortmund above Rangers, because it's a 1 year loan. It's immediate. He needs to impact immediately, and Dortmund are a big club in Germany, and if he had a couple of bad games, he might be out. Whereas at Rangers, I think he'd have a little bit more of a chance. I get what you're saying. Their development is incredible, but if I was a Dortmund manager, I wouldn't be looking at a Mikey Moore. I'd be trying to get one of my own youth players to play. But I know what you mean.
That is a fair point. But one thing I will say on that, I mean, people have said to me, like, would you get rid of Mikey Moore, whatever, and that. I said no, give him another season as such to develop. But then I put my hand down and said, you know what, if we got offered 30, 40 million for him, like I think it was Saver I was talking to, it was off the show. If he's got a buyout clause on him, then that we can buy him back, then I'll go for that. But one thing that definitely interests me, if Dortmund are interested in one of your youth players, there's got to be something good about him. There's got to be.
Top drawer. He can be top drawer.
I haven't seen nothing from him yet that I can call him that. When he has played, I've seen a moment or two, and that's it. And I can only judge on what I see. And he is only 17, for God's sake. But people, again, Spurs fans, we are one of the worst for this, on putting the player so fucking high that when he comes off, he breaks his bloody legs. And with that, if Dortmund are interested in a young player, you got to think there is something there. Right, last thing I'm going to do before I end the show then. Ryan, man, been hanging on to a second. You got a question here. Who sets Spurs ceilings? Answer: Spurs do, by having a 45% wages to revenue their ratio. Who actually agrees with that and doesn't?
It's more of a statement than a question.
Yeah,
it's a rhetorical question. Looking at, isn't it? He's answered it, isn't he? Like, because
I'm asking your opinions on it as well.
Yeah.
Would you agree with it?
Personally, I'll quickly go first, because obviously I just jumped in there quickly. But I personally haven't got an issue with the club being run. And to go back to my very first YouTube experience. I think Brian was the second person I spoke to, but Stell was the very, very first
Yep.
person I ever had a conversation with on the YouTube channel. And it was about me defending Levy. And one of the reasons we are where we are is obviously the history, but we are a very, very well-run club. I know it doesn't seem like it most of the time because we're not getting success on the pitch most of the time, but behind the scenes, we are very well run. And you hit the nail on the head earlier, Dan, when you said we're one of 3 or 4 clubs around the world of football, the entire planet, that can actually be self-sufficient. We don't rely on external funding. We don't rely on having to sell players. We don't rely on having to sit there and win things, yet we're still up on that top table somehow. And it's partly because of that wages to revenue ratio. We are, I think, either the lowest or we're in the bottom 3 for how much we spend on wages compared to how much we turn over. I don't know the exact number, but we're down at the bottom, similar to how we were in the aerial jewels that Brian put up earlier. And I have no issue with that in general. What I have the issue with is the players we've brought over the last 4 or 5 years. Specifically, we could go back further, but then obviously we'll be here all night. But specifically, I don't think the squad we built that we've got now over the last few years has been good enough. I think we can buy better even at the same prices we spent. Don't mean to pick on him. Archie, great. 40 million. We could have spent that 40 million on a better player that was coming in
we needed
first
now.
choice.
Yeah,
exactly. And that's
the
simple
problem
example.
people have had, Dave.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't think it's the money spent necessarily. The only caveat, and I'm to disagree with myself a little bit, the only caveat I have is with the wages, because ultimately players, if they've got 2 clubs to choose from, they might go for the money, and I don't blame them. You know, we're all human beings at the end of the day, and our wages that we pay are sort of, I'm about middle of the screen there, and so just above middle, that's where we are in terms of the wages we spend. We might spend money on a transfer fee, okay, not 150 mil, but we're kind of more up there on the transfers we spend. But the actual wages we spend on a player are more down that middle, just above middle region.
Yeah,
and
it
most
doesn't
of it
compete to the size of the club, does it? I just want to say
exactly.
thanks to, let me say this right and read it properly, Mashina Joe. Okay, nice name. Different. I'll give you that one, mate. New member, much appreciated, fella. Sorry, Dave, just wanted to read that out. Go on, mate.
Mashina Joe, give it. But yeah, so ultimately we may get the odd, like say if we brought 10 players, okay, around about, you know, a decent figure, but that wage structure, the chances are only 1 or 2 of them are going to come off and be really, really good players for us. And that's where we are with that. So I kind of agree with that statement that we are going to sit there and be restricted because of that wages to turnover ratio. But I also don't think we've done great in the past of buying players. I think we've spent money on players that we could have spent elsewhere. I think we've wasted wages on players we could have spent elsewhere. So I don't think it's so that's the only reason we're not up there competing. I think it's a contributing reason, but we could have done better within our own wage structure to be up there challenging. But it will always hold us back a little bit, you know. So if we want to go from 4th, 3rd to 1st and 2nd, it will hold us back. But we're sitting there, well, obviously 17th last year, but we're talking earlier in the show about being where do we expect to be? Top 8, top 9. So I think if we have spent better in the past, we'd be going, oh, we'll be challenging for top 4. We'll be challenging for, you know, trophies and things. But I think because we've spent poorly in the past, we're further down. But that being said, I don't think we'll ever get 1, 2 in the league because we don't put that wage structure to the other big teams. So I kind of agree and disagree with that point. But yeah, sorry to jump in, but yeah.
No, that's it. What do you 3 think on that? On the wage structure, basically, does that hold us back a lot?
I'll answer very, very quickly. Yes.
Cool. Okay. Right.
Yes.
Simple as that.
Right in, mic drop. Yes. Game over. That's my defence. That's my case. I'll hand it over to the jury. Does the wage ratio hold us back? Yes.
Yes, it does, in my opinion. Luke?
I mean, we pay up to 200 grand a week, don't we? Because that's what Sonny's on. I mean, is that really
One player.
but we do pay up to that amount, though. I mean, Harry Kane was on 2 plus, wasn't he?
Yeah, but then we have been dickheads at times and paid 165 grand a week for Timo.
100%. I mean, no, don't get me wrong, but you know, again, what Dave said, you know, he's right. We spend the money, we just don't get the quality, and it does beg the question as to why that even is. You know, I mean, yeah, I really don't know. With a wage thing, I think it's a bit of a difficult one because I think 200 grand lands you most players. If I want, you know, most decent players anyway. I'm not talking world class, but you know, 200 grand a week will land you a very, very, very good player. So I don't know. Is the wages really? I mean, I'm not being funny. Spurs clearly pay the wages for good top players. Do you just feel maybe that you know, when Levy's negotiating, do you feel like maybe he feels certain players aren't worth the wages that they're asking for?
Just a quick one, Ben, just to add on to that before the others jump in, right? So, a prime example, Alexander Isak was what, 40 mil, weren't he, to Newcastle, give or take?
Yeah.
Our wage structure would have got him before he went Newcastle. It wouldn't get him now. So, what I'm saying is, if we spend better and get Isak as he's coming up, and he was quite proven, he'd been around for a bit. He wasn't like an unknown, he was quite well proven. Better scouting. Get these players at the right time. We can do it in our wage structure. But once Isak's gone to Newcastle and done what he's done, we're nowhere near getting him with our wage structure. And I think that's the point I was trying to make.
Yeah,
we spend better.
And Luke, what do you think on the wage structure? Does that hold us back a lot, would you say, or just a little bit? What?
It's a contributing factor, no doubt. Is it as much as a factor as we think? I'm not so sure on the basis that I think you're right. If we get the players in at the right time, you don't have to pay the top wages. Now we will look at it quite rightly and go, yeah, but the top players, they're on far more than we can afford, and it's like, don't worry, we ain't going to get them level. So don't worry what they're being paid.
Yeah,
we're not anywhere near that. And even if we did, if we offered Isak 400 grand a week, is he going to come to Spurs or Liverpool? So. Forget about that in my eyes. And also, like right now specifically, it's very much a case of where our target audience was. So we was going down the young route. We were shifting off all the old boys, the Dyers, the Kanes, the Llorises, the big wages, getting in these young players and hoping to do what they've said in terms of bringing in these young players. And Archie Gray's on 80 grand a week. If in 3-4 years he's an unbelievable player, he's still not on much more than if we was to have signed someone. So we're at the start of that cycle. And if we go and sign, we've got Kudus in, Palinia's on a fair amount. If we go and sign 3 more of players of that type on them sorts of wages, then you could say that was the reason why the wages were so low and etc. But it's all down to everything falls down to recruitment on that side. It all falls down to recruitment. If you get good players in at decent wages, and then they become better, then your wages ain't going to be as high as some of the elite clubs because you're not signing superstars. You're signing good players who become better. So
I'll tell you one of the things I do appreciate what Levy and Spurs do wage-wise. Look at people like Dele Alli, or for a recent example, Destiny, when he came. He came on a low wage in the grand scheme of things. But for the first 6 months at Tottenham, Destiny Doji, his form was like Dave just said, skyrocketed. So what did they do? Immediately gave him a new contract, doubled his wages.
Yeah.
So they staged. Dele Alli, I think, signed 4 contracts whilst he was with us. But every time they saw them developing, they're like, right, we need to give you more money before the big clubs start circling and your contract runs down. So there are times that Spurs actually pay the wages very, very well. Bergval's another example last season. Bergval came in with no wages. But this is the bit I'm getting to, Dan. Bergval came in, low wages, came from a Swedish second division team, started to show what he could do in glimpses, and straight away, right, we need to give you a new contract. Bang, you're tied in. And they're long contracts, which is what Spurs do well, because now anyone comes for them. But then we go and spend money like Archie Gray and Dominic Solanke, we spent 65 million on Solanke. We didn't buy him because he's a Premier League predator or he's done it elsewhere. We did it because we don't have to pay the 200 grand a week. He's on under 100 grand a week. So when it comes to players like the youngsters, like your Destinies, your Delis, your Bergvaus, Spurs do very, very well. And it's a great model not to give young talent the big wages immediately. And they're like, oh my God, I'm on 100 grand. Like Kobe Mainu wants 120 to 170 grand a week. He's had one good season at Manchester United and he's laying those demands down. Spurs, what they do very well with the youngsters is they stagger it. See, they reward the talent and they reward the form and the promise to keep them locked in and to stagger them so they don't need to go wallop huge wages.
I love the way you say keep them locked in.
Yeah, but then you look at it, but then you look at it, and then we'll bring in players like Archie Gray, whether he turns out to be a good player, which I think he will. But Dominic Solanke, for an extra £15 million, we could have got Gyökeres and look at the season. Not saying he'd have the season he did have, but when Spurs could go that extra little bit more and get the player, but he's going to demand the big wages. Nah, we don't do. And if Sonny goes with that 200 grand a week saved, there were people, and it was amongst the fan base that you saw, Spurs are going to smash that. They've got rid of all the wages. Spurs are going to be ruthless. We're going to see plus 200 be broken. Have we? But that's the thing. They reward talent from the youngsters. It's like earn your contracts and they do it. But then we'll go and spend stupid big money like Archie Gray, 40 million. Like Soleil, that's 115 million, if my maths is right. All right, no, sorry, about 105 million. Archie Gray's on 75,000. Dominic Solanke's on 90. That's close to 200 grand a week. If you'd gone and spent that money on one player, and given that wage for a genuine star that comes in and makes this team better immediately.
But that's what I'm saying. Again, it comes down to the recruitment. Because if you'd have listened to all Spurs fans at the start of the season, we should have gone all in and got Pedro Neto. Neto is the one. Go and get him. He's unbelievable. He's on 160 grand a week. In the Premier League, he's played nearly 150 games. He's got 15 goals. Johnson scored 11 last season. Johnson has scored 4 less goals last season than Pedro Neto has in his whole Premier League career. So if you would have listened to the fans and you'd have done what they said, then everyone at this year would probably be going, cool, what have we spent money on him for? Yeah. So you know what? There is both sides.
And are we going to end the show on a Brennan Johnson loving? No, we end the show on a
This is not a loving. This is not a loving. It's just
no. But I think Luke makes a fair point there. But I'm going to have to end the show because I still have to walk the dog. I know it's 11 o'clock, and in this area you usually take knuckle dusters with you, but I've got a big fucking Rottweiler with me, so it'll be amusing. And yeah, he's feisty. Lovely dog though. Right, everyone, thanks for coming on, and everyone, thanks for watching. TJ, thanks for the super chat, mate. Much appreciated. And Mashing a Joe, if I say I do like that name, becoming a member again. Right, Luke, where are we going to catch up with you soon?
I've got a couple of videos coming out soon. Talking about bring on different guests every time. Got 10 questions. There's going to be like 3 coming out every week, all about Spurs, just about where people's thoughts and feelings are, whether they're happy with the transfer window. And obviously it's changing all the time because we're making signings. So got a few of them coming out. One's out tomorrow. On Sunday, I am on We Are Tottenham TV for the pre-match boost for the game. And then on Thursday, I'll be on my own channel doing all things Spurs. I'd love to tell you what we're talking about, but we could be talking about a Thomas Frank sacking. Who knows? We know what Spurs are like. Anything could happen. So, sorry, Brian. I'm sorry.
I'll get the private jet if that happens. I'll be like, listen, I've got a mission.
Yeah. So, Brian, where do we catch up? Oh, sorry, Luke, gone.
No, that was it.
Okay. And Brian, where do we catch up with you next?
Well, first of all, I want to know, when is David going to bring out his book club channel? Just have loads of books. I think that I'm waiting to see. He'll just pick up a book and we'll have a frank discussion about it. You can find. I'll definitely be on. Oh, there you go. There. I look forward to him, buddy. Come on, David's book club.
Game of Thrones ones are better.
David's book club. We all need to see it. You'll see me. I'm going to do another late night, 9 p.m., 2 a.m. UK time, 9 p.m. Toronto time, late night stream. I'm going to do a lot more of them now for the people on my time zone or other times. I'll be on We Are Tottenham TV. And we might do something tomorrow, but we'll definitely be on Monday for our Monday show on Tottenham. So just very quickly, Dan, you've been on the channel. Luke, David, Ben, I need to get you on it. And everyone in the chat, yesterday, obviously, we hit a huge milestone of 10K subscribers. Dan, you've been a great help coming on the show and being everyone in the chat and everyone, sir, whoever's in the chat now and as part of the family and part of the community, thank you for helping Tottenham on Tour get there. And we look forward to seeing we look forward to bringing you a lot more good content on the road to 20.
Well, now you're doing the late night ones, I'll probably be watching them as well because it usually takes.
Come on, Dan.
It usually takes about 2 hours for my medication to kick in. So,
on.
and when it does, I'll probably pass out on the screen. But that would be much enjoyed. And Dave and Ben, I'm sure we will catch up with you both very soon on here. And
and sorry, if you're doing something important, what I'm about to say is,
go on.
Well, actually, the first bit is actually quite important. Brian, I'll come on Monday. I'm free Monday.
Oh, right.
But yeah, Dan, maybe give me a bell after this when you're walking the dog, because I'm debating whether to delete my Tinder or not. You know, like been some developments in the recent world of Dave. So yeah, Ben, ladies, you may not be able to find me on Tinder much longer.
Oh, Dave's getting married by the sound of it. I'll talk to you afterwards. Kinky shit. And Ben, I'm sure we'll catch up with you again soon. Right, I just want to say big thanks for everyone watching. Got a very important show on Sunday, 5 o'clock with Kelly, which is Harley's mum, on who we're going to be doing a charity for. So as many of you on there as possible is needed. It'd be much appreciated. And the last thing I'll ask here, I don't ask very often. I'm on I need another 160 to get to 5K. So obviously a few subscribers does help. And just want to say goodbye to everyone. And I am going to put an exit here that I think described the Spurs fans the other day. And then what I'm also going to do is, how shall I put this? If you think you can hack it, I'm going to send you over to Spurs diehards. And please do say Hotspur Hood raid, but only if you think you can hack it. And anyway, everybody, have a good night.
Take care.